to another episode of Pretty Not Smart with your host, Louie, aka the baddest perra.
And Yoatzi.
And our special guest,
Ay, amigas, yo ando bien nervioso. But you know what it is? I was literally just telling you guys that I get nervous no matter what. Like, even when I film my podcast or other people's podcasts, but it's always like the first 5 minutes.
I feel like it's like the podcast.
I'm like all stressed out,
As
man.
soon as he started.
I'm like, going crazy. No. Yeah,
As soon as he sat down, he's like, wait, can I get one?
Oh, yeah, he's like, I need a stress ball.
No, I swear to God, cuando estaba like on my way over here and also in the shower, I was thinking about your guys' stress balls because I'm like, is that like a thing for their podcast?
Yes.
And I feel like they do help porque
They
como que te
do.
entretienes haciendo algo.
You get
You're
like
like-
distracted.
I'm like,
That'll
man.
work.
He's like, do you have another pillow?
I need a big one.
No, and we have like a full basket full of like hella little stress balls.
And dog
Yes, we need
toys.
that.
No, he's like, these are dog toys. He's all biting at the
this
whole
came in my
episode.
fucking dog, the bird box.
He takes them.
Oh
Hi,
my
do you guys
God.
have that?
Bark box?
The bark box.
Oh, I was like, bird box?
It's all for birds.
Yeah, it has like a blindfold.
Have
on
you
the
guys
dog.
ever had that though?
What
Like,
is that?
I know what it is, but I've never had
it's
it.
like, okay, so I have a thing where I don't like, well, I mean, I do. I'm not me sounding like a bad dog owner. I have 4 dogs. So
I
it's
hate my
like,
dogs.
I know, I have 4 dogs. So I have like a subscription donde puedo like ordenarles comida and like their toys every month.
What
Yeah.
the
Para no
fuck?
salir a la
Shut
tienda a
up.
comprarles.
Well,
You know,
then you
he's
never.
on ad right now. He's
I'm like, I came with the
sponsored by-
purpose.
Like, sponsored.
I'm like, this video is sponsored by.
He gets paid for this
He's like, you
later.
can send it to me after. What the
No,
fuck
but
that's
it is a
singing?
thing. Like, they have a lot of those toys that you guys have in that basket. I've gotten them there.
And she buys in their dog toys.
No, I buy him at Home Goods and TJ Maxx.
Bueno,
In the
fuera.
dog section.
No, in the like hobby section.
No, you know what's funny? I've never seen your dogs.
You know what it is?
You
I
have
feel
a
like
Shih Tzu, no? Or a poodle?
Ya ni sé qué son, güey. Tengo
they're
4. So tengo toda la familia. Tengo
Damn.
Ralph, which is my original dog, which is a dog that I got after se me murió my first dog ever. And it was kind of like a rebound.
You're like,
Not a rebound
It
dog.
really was.
You
It
needed
really
something
was.
to like fill that hole.
No. Era porque se nos murió nuestro perro. This was before they took out, because aquí ya no es legal where they where you can buy a dog at the store. You remember when they used to have dogs at the, like, you can buy dogs at the mall?
You can't
No.
do Yeah,
You can't
and
do that anymore.
SPCA and stuff, no?
Yeah, like you can't do that anymore.
remember
So yo me acuerdo la primera vez, maybe like 5 years ago, when I bought my first dog. It was like a white dog, like a little bunny looking dog. Richie the Rich dog. Para los que se acuerdan, se me murió
wait, I
literal like a week after getting
remember.
him.
He got parvo.
Yes, he got me lo vendieron ya
remember.
enfermo. Yeah, like they literally sold him to me ya enfermo. So literally the place that I got him at, they literally were like, whoa, because I hit them up and I was like, hey, you literally sold me a dog that was like
dead
It's like,
but it was like bound to die, bitch. Like, I swear to God, I remember. Lo compré un Thursday. Friday, I was out at a rave. The one that they do like in March. Which one is that one?
Beyond Wonderland?
Beyond Wonderland. Regresé y ya estaba muerto.
oh, shut the.
Well, no, like tampoco así no.
No, it's like,
No way, it happened like a week. Regresé, we had to have him in the hospital. Y se murió on Danny's birthday.
oh, that's bitch. That's even worse.
But the reason why I say it's a rebound is because I literally, since they gave me credit, like the place I bought him
Not
at.
credit.
But it was really sketch though, because that place that I got him at, Main Place Mall, if you guys know, you know, salió unas noticias that they were like a dog mill.
Wait, what's a dog?
Yeah,
man?
like donde nomás tienen un pinche edificio where they just kind of make dogs
Where
have
they
sex
just like
para-
shit them out.
Yeah.
Para venderlos.
Para venderlos, yeah.
So
my
that's why they
first-
didn't even give a fuck. They were just
Yeah.
like, all right, sell it.
They were
sell
just
it.
like, I think if anything, the guy knew I was doing social media because like, he saw me with the cameras. I think he was just like, hey, you know, like come get another dog, para que I wouldn't expose them. You know what I mean? I think that's what
that's
it was.
fucked,
So that's
yeah.
how I
That's
got
so
my
fucked
second
up.
dog. Y luego después de eso agarré my girl dog, and then they had babies, and I kept 2 out of the 5.
oh shit.
And I think the little ones son Maltese.
Maltese?
I think they're mixed with a Yorkie. The first dog is a Yorkie or Morkie. Sepa la verga, pero tengo 4. I'm like, and they're a handful.
Yeah, damn. I don't
Because
know
I was
how you
gonna
have
say, I feel like
4.
every time I go, I hear them, but I've never seen it. So I was like, what kind of like breed?
It's because I put them away when people come.
They're like,
No,
Which
the first dog, Ralph, he's the most aggressive. Like, una vez, dude, like, I swear to God, una vez me asusté, una vez my mom.
Yeah.
Usually when I go on trips, it's either Irma or my mom taking care of my house. Y me acuerdo que una vez, like, I told my mom, I was like, take care of my house, you know, like, vente aquí. Y mi mom se trajo a mi sobrina, a mi sobrino, like, everyone.
Okay.
And I swear to God, dude, me llama mi mamá. Like, I was on vacation, bitch, like, living my best life. Me llama mi mamá que supuestamente mi perro había atacado a mi sobrina.
Oh
and
my
I literally
God.
thought, like, a little ass ataque.
Like
I literally, I was like, la mordió.
Yeah.
No, dude, like, really, really bad.
Shut
like,
the
I
fuck.
swear to God, I literally thought my brother was gonna tell me shit and, like, tell me, like, oh, we have
my
to, like,
God.
kill
Like,
your dog
put
type of
it
shit.
down?
Yeah, like, put it down. I wasn't gonna do it. Like, se lo buscó.
Just in case.
But I really do think it's because she was being bad vibes. Like, my sobrina really was being bad
Like
vibes.
being like
Lo
cry
estaba
all over the
molestando.
dog.
No, it's because like I'm a very true believer with my dogs, like, cause I think Ralph is like a misunderstood dog, right? Like with me, with anyone he really does truly feel comfortable with.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like the sweetest fucking dog, bitch. Like
yeah.
he sleeps with us. Like he literally is like the sweetest dog. Pero siento como que tiene trauma. I know, sin envidia, Dr.
dog
Phil.
What would you do?
Oh, Dr. Phil,
like,
bitch.
I'm a therapist
I'm
for
like,
dogs.
tiene trauma, necesita
like, sits down.
terapia. No, I think he does have a lot of trauma because since he comes from like those dog mills,
Yeah.
I think he was used to like el maltrato. So whenever like new people whenever people that he never sees come, como que se siente como que he's on like defense mode. So me acuerdo que esa vez atacó mi niece because I don't know what it is, and people piss me off. Like my family pisses me off when they come to the house. Ya le tienen como el mal nombre a Ralph. Like they're always like, ay, ese no porque los muerde. Ese no, ese no.
So he's like always
he's always
excluded.
excluded. We always have to put him upstairs. Y me acuerdo que esa vez, like my mom, como me lo contó, she was telling me that she was telling my niece to not get near him.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, like kind of like embeddling miedo into my sobrina.
To be
Y
like,
terminó like, so she was so scared of him,
Yeah.
and he fucking was reacting on fear.
He's
Like, he
like-
told me. He was
Oh,
reacting
dog
on fear. Y la
whisperer?
atacó, bitch. La atacó bien feo, la traía
shit.
toda acá, like, la arrastró.
Oh my
Y un
God.
pinche perrito igual
That's
que un
the baddest
chihuahua.
Mom dragging
I'm like,
a
que
horse.
Louie, ni que
You
chingados.
I'm like, I'm not going over
Ralph
anymore.
is the baddest perro. I
We'll post a
swear.
pic of Ralph on the Brain Out
But he is the
Instagram.
sweetest, dude. He's like the literal sweetest.
Sweetest. Pero
With
te arrastra.
us. No, with
Pero te
us though.
arrastra.
And I did, you know what's funny? You know, like when you have like those combos with your dogs?
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, that's
no,
me
no,
with
no.
my
You're
dogs.
like,
I literally
wow.
like maybe like last week, I literally was telling Danny, I was like you know, like hugging him y todo, and I was like, damn, Ralph is really misunderstood. Because he
Pinche
is.
Ralph.
Throw
Ya
your
todos le
kids.
tienen como esa mala espina. They always think he's like on attack mode, and
Yeah.
he is. I think he just has to like.
I'm like, so is he good or bad?
He's like, so this is what everyone thinks.
He also
but
attacked
it's
my
true.
grandma.
Pinche
Yeah, pero
Ralph.
porque se lo busca también.
Like, they just,
I'm like, todos se los busca.
I'm like, that's how you know when a mom loves her kid.
I know, they're like, it's just not
Justifies it.
him, it's everyone else.
I'm all fucking making excuses for him. Hey,
I
no, but
know.
my grandma one though, I'm not gonna lie, that one was her fault.
Why?
Because
What
okay, so Ralph, okay, so one of his biggest traumas, even with us, we can't say bye. So we can't be like, bye, Ralph. Like if we
When
want
we
to
go to
get
his
him,
house where I buy.
yeah, you
Ralph.
can't say bye.
Why?
I don't know. I think
gets
that
triggered?
word just triggers him and he goes crazy. You also can't like despedirte de me or Danny. Like you can't say bye and come give us a hug or a kiss in
Yeah.
front of him because he goes crazy. And my grandma knew that. Y me acuerdo,
No.
era una vez que estaba con nosotros. She was like sleeping. She was getting ready to go upstairs. Y me acuerdo that she comes to me and she was like, te voy a dar un beso porque Ralph ya me quiere. Right? Like she was already like, oh, he likes me. Like, he's able to be around me.
Oh my God.
Y me acuerdo que se me acercó, bitch. Like, I swear to God, nomás dijo bye y se me acercó. Boom! He comes rushing at her, bitch. Attacks her.
I'm
La hizo
scared of
morder
Ralph.
el dedo.
Oh shit.
I'm making him look all bad.
I know, I'm like,
Pero
maybe
no le
he is
tengan miedo,
dangerous.
amigas. No, maybe he is.
I'm
You
scared.
He
should
is
take
a
him to
bad
be like your
dog.
guard dog.
Bitch.
When somebody's behaving
He's all
bad.
chaparrito. I'm always telling him, like, whenever he gets crazy, bitch, no, I'm like, se me atoró el pinche lago.
Ralph is all kind
He's not
I
doing
was
little,
like, you're saying the wrong things, Dad.
he's like, shut up.
Whenever he gets crazy, though, I'm always telling him, fuck, what was I going to say? Whenever he gets crazy.
It's all script. He's already
I
a
forgot
script.
my lines.
He's like reading on
I'm
my
like,
phone.
what did he say to say? I had to plead his case, bitch. No, but I think he's a good dog just with the wrong people.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't like the wrong people.
Like he's just like, you cannot poke at him or treat him bad because you know he'll.
Or
Yeah, or
or
you can't
just
be a
get
stranger.
near. You can't be
Or just fucking stay away. Or
He's
just
like-
understand why when you come over, Louie, he's not there.
He's like, another
That's
one.
why he's not there.
He's like, so don't look for him.
Literally.
Bitch, so in other words.
I'm like, in other
funny.
words, you're never gonna meet him.
We're never gonna meet Ralph.
But this one, I think I want to.
I don't think so either.
But he's nice. I think you just need to you need to give him a chance.
Yeah.
No, okay,
Con su tiempo.
Ends up in the hospital with rabies, bitch.
I'm okay.
Fuck
Like,
you.
no, thank you.
Like, well, I don't think I want to meet
How are your
Ralph.
guys' dogs? You have a dog too, no?
Yes, I have two dogs. I have a Shih Tzu, Bella. She looks like a mop.
Okay.
But she's a Shih Tzu. I love her. Pero también es igual. She to strangers like.
Is she
She
white?
won't stop barking.
White.
Yeah.
Is it a thing? Like, okay, when I was little, I always thought white dogs looked bougie. Like, nice. No, I always thought they were like, oh, nice.
Like when they're like
you know, be
limpiecitos.
limpiecitos. But I feel like out of all my dogs, my white dog is the dirtiest and the one that looks like the fucking mop.
Parecen un trapeador.
Like, I'm literally like, girl.
How would you go shower
I
a
know.
dog?
I'm like,
No,
my
bitch.
Milky's fine.
Bitch. No, but your dogs are like high-end dogs.
Yeah,
Oh, God, at the
Treating mine
designer
like
store.
shit because they're not high-end. I'm like, mine are pobrecitos. They're all firulais.
I think it depends because my Shih Tzu, like, ahorita no le he cortado el pelo,
Yeah.
so she looks like a mop. But when I trim her, she's so pretty and she's so cute. Pero nomás le crece el pelo and she looks like a mop.
But I just think it's like the white fur though.
I
'Cause
think
se
they get
ensucia.
dirty
Oh,
hella
yeah.
quick.
Señorita Gris.
Yeah, like
So
literally
gray.
sometimes I
She's
forget.
gray.
She's all fucking, ya te tapió todo el pinche toda tu casa, güey. She's all the iRobot.
She already
just
memorizes where to go.
I'm dead.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Yoatzi had some preguntas that she wanted to
Okay.
ask you right now.
Oh, shit. That's right.
I'm like, saca las preguntas, amigas.
But, okay, well, so you guys, instead of doing Yoatzi's, like, dumbass facts of the fucking day, she's going to do a little twist on it. So these questions...
They're fun facts, but they're fun facts that I hope Alan knows. if
You
that
should
makes
know.
sense.
I thought they were gonna be
Según.
like crazy questions, like who are you voting
They're
for?
coming.
Wrong
like,
one,
I
deep.
Not right now.
Oh, he's
Okay.
like, you
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun facts about Chucky.
Okay.
So
okay.
según, you're going to know.
Oh my
Supposedly he's the
God.
biggest Chucky fanatic, eh?
I literally was just watching Bride of Chucky today.
Wait, so
No,
do you,
shut
like,
up.
rewatch them? Like,
Okay, not
frequently?
as often as it seems I do because I feel like people think like that's all I watch. But I haven't watched a lot of like the older movies like anytime recently.
Oh, okay, okay.
Esta vez que nos ponimos a verla, it was just kind of more like have it playing
Just-
like while we're on our
okay,
phones,
okay.
kind of chilling
Bride
vibes.
of Chucky is my absolute favorite.
I think
Chucky
that was
one.
like
Mine's
prime. Like that was prime
Chucky.
Chucky.
That was
He
prime
looked the
Chucky.
best. The storyline was the
Yeah.
best.
Yes.
I feel like after, because después de esa fue Seed of Chucky. I'm like, you don't gotta ask me, babe. I'll tell you.
I was like, fuck
I'll
the
give you
questions.
timelines. No, but I think the ones that they did recently, maybe like the one where which one was it? Was it Creative? No, not Creative Chucky. Where he was in the Salem.
They're still making
I
more?
didn't like that one.
I didn't like that.
I didn't
After
like
that one, I feel like that's kind of where the franchise was at its prime.
It's not.
anymore.
Ya se está acabando.
Ya,
Like
ya no
Chucky-
saben qué hacer con Chucky.
ya déjalo, ya.
Nomás lo ponen a matar a puro loco.
Bro.
Like, just kill anyone you see with no purpose, bitch. A ver, dame las
But,
preguntas.
okay.
Okay.
I want to see how much you think you know a lot about Chucky.
Ay, like fun facts, like, oh, like, maybe. Okay, échamelas. A
All
ver.
right, the first one. What is Chucky's real name?
Charles Lee Ray.
Oh,
Shut up. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know
Charles
Lee
Lee.
Ray.
Charles Lee Ray. Uh-huh.
So how do you get Chucky?
Because that was his
It's
nickname.
short. Charles.
Like Charles
Chucky.
Chucky.
So anybody with the name
Charles
Charles,
is a Chucky.
Is it?
what the?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I know, I was
you
like-
can
Yeah,
be
I think
whatever
so.
you want. If you're
Yeah.
Charles and you want to be, is it though? I
think
thought it was
so.
just like Chucky the doll, like just not the doll, like that was just his nickname que él tenía, but I didn't know it was like
Like the common?
like it was like the common like Francisco Pancho vibes.
Yeah, that's
like
how
I didn't
I
think
saw
it was that.
I think it is, no?
Oh, the
So I've
more you
never
know.
heard.
Ah, pues
I will
quién
have to look
sabe.
it up.
Ah.
Ever.
Well, that was
Well, that's
quick.
sickening.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, then you're gonna know this one. What did Chucky call his child?
Glenn
Yeah.
and because but there's Glenn and Glenda.
Glenn and Glenda.
I feel like the new series. Have you guys watched the new series though?
No.
I am so mad. I hope they bring it back. Let's do a petition, you guys, para que la traigan otra vez otro season. They
Oh, there's a
have
show?
they
There's a
have
show?
yeah, there's a show. It's on like its third season. Se acaba de acabar. They literally killed the president on
What?
the show.
Okay, I'm watching.
Yeah,
that
no,
shit.
you guys have to watch it.
What's it
But
called?
It's called Chucky. It's on. I think it's on Netflix or on.
I did not know this.
I don't know, one of those
I'm gonna
shows,
look it
but it's somewhere. But in the new season, Glenn actually becomes. They make him like very LGBTQ friendly, so they made like a girl. They made him theys.
What?
Because in Seed of Chucky,
made him days.
he was
They made him days.
But you know what I mean? Like it's like a girl and a guy.
because in Seed of Chucky he was confused about his gender.
Yeah,
no?
in
The
Seed
little
of Chucky's it
purple
was
one, right?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Because
one,
like
he didn't know if it was Glenn or Glenda.
because also like the parents were confusing him. Like
Yes,
a huevo,
yes.
like Tiffany quería que fuera mujer, and Chucky wanted him to be a male. So in like
Yes.
the new series, they kind of made it like, okay, we're gonna give y'all the best of both worlds, and they made him like a girl character and a guy character. That's cool. No, you
That's
guys should
sick,
watch
man.
the
I'ma
new one.
watch
It's kind of
that.
crazy. Yeah.
Okay, last one. What is Chucky's weakness?
Chucky's weakness is when he spends too much time in the body. Or the heart. I mean, when you shoot him in the heart, but I feel like that's anyone that's like an evil person.
Yeah. But what's the
I'm
other
like,
one?
stop. I'm like, that's a weakness.
You shoot
But
him in
I
the
think
heart.
his weakness is when he spends too much time in like the doll, where he becomes human y todo le afecta.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically being in the
what?
doll.
He's sick,
Wait,
man.
I'm
Dude, you literally got all of them.
Literally.
Man, I'm confused.
I'm like, school. You didn't know that?
No, wait, I don't get it though. Like,
So like, okay, so basically, long story short, para los que no saben, so he was like someone that like was into like witchcraft, like all that like crazy shit. So before he died, maybe I think in like 19 something, I think it's like 90.
He was like about to die.
He was about to die, and he used one of the things that he learned because of all like the witchcraft y todo
Yeah.
lo que estaba haciendo. I don't know if it's witchcraft. I can be wrong. Like I know there's like a whole community for that.
You're like,
Hold on, no me ataquen. But like, you know, para uno, I'm like, that is kind of like evil
like-
shit, you know,
Yeah.
like dark. So before he died, se metió el cuerpo de
He
Chucky.
transferred his soul into Chucky.
Shut
So
up.
basically, when he's in the doll, nada le afecta. Le das un putazo al muñeco, no le pasa nada, es un muñeco. So when he like is in the muñeco for too long, he starts becoming human.
Yeah.
So like that's when like everything that happens, like un balazo, everything starts affecting him. Or un putazo.
So that's why he wants to like transfer into human bodies,
Again,
right?
yeah. So that's why he's always like trying to go in and out.
He's trying to go into human
So
bodies.
he can
and
live
then-
like a normal life. He never actually did.
I
Well,
don't think he does, right? Or
I
no,
know.
I think at some point him and Tiffany do.
Oh, they do. That's when she's that one girl, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
wait, yeah. Well, that was even before.
Yeah.
That was when he was already that girl. Chucky killed her and made her a doll.
Right. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
my- I need to rewatch
I'm
these
like, you need to
movies.
watch all the
Yeah,
movies.
long story
Catch the fuck up.
short.
Yeah.
Okay, now can I ask you some questions to test your pretty not smartness?
Okay.
Do you think you're pretty or smart or both?
I think I was like smart, like at a point, but I feel like I feel like lately I've been like very mencito vibes. Dude.
So you're pretty
I feel
not
like you know what
smart.
it is. I feel like I'm pretty not smart. I'm like, as you can see,
That's why I'm here.
We're on
Well,
brand.
we're gonna find out. Let's see.
Okay,
Okay,
chinga
ready,
su madre,
ready,
ándale, vámonos.
Okay.
Wait, are these like scholarly questions that you're gonna
It's a little bit of mix of everything.
Okay. I've seen Louie's on these. Are they like your spelling bees?
Yeah, shit
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
A ver.
Okay.
Okay, vámonos.
Ready? Wait. Este también no se la sabe. So if you know the answer, which I doubt it.
A ver. Well, he'll go first.
Okay, where on your body can you find your pulse?
Your neck?
Yeah, your name. No, right here. Right?
Louie, go to
Wait,
your
really?
Eh?
That is correct.
So right here?
Yes, when you
I feel
wanna,
it more on my neck.
His art's right here.
It's on my hernia.
whatever. It's all growing. The most accurate place to find your pulse is right here on your wrist, and it has to be with these two fingers, not your thumb.
You see, and I even went
It
like
has to be
this.
like
I didn't
this.
know that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
I
I
don't
can
have
feel
one.
it.
Huh.
Bitch, I'm all dead.
He's like, I don't feel shit.
No, I can feel it. If you do your two and you press
Yeah.
it down,
It has to be right here.
you can feel it.
I feel like I would only feel it here when I'd go like running.
When I'm running, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like
Actually, I can't even fucking feel it here.
I-
he's all dead.
I'm like,
Oh, I got
All
that
right,
one.
ready for the
Okay.
next one? Okay, which one of you can name 3 continents?
I don't even know what
Asia.
that is.
Okay.
South America, North America.
Besides the
Okay,
South
okay,
and the
okay,
North, give me
Asia.
another one. Asia, I'll count South or North America as
Okay,
one.
Asia, Africa,
Wait, I think yes.
Africa is, right? Okay, Africa.
You're smart.
Asia, Africa.
He's not trying to do all 7.
There's 7.
Yeah, there
What are
is.
continents?
Continent?
He's like California.
Okay, no, so look. So I know there's cities, states, countries.
And then there's continents. There's only 7 of them.
Oh, so that's what you see like on the globe.
Yes.
Oh, North America, South America.
Asia,
Africa.
Africa. Is Germany? Germany's part of Europe. Europe is the third one.
And Antarctica.
Antarctica
Oh!
is so yeah.
What are we missing, guys?
What's all of
I think we're missing where the Italy's at. Where the Italy's
Germany.
Yeah.
What the fuck's Oceania?
What?
Oh, that's not right.
Oh my God.
We got them all. Don't worry about it.
We got the 3. I'm like, you only asked for 3.
I have one more for you.
Okay.
This one's more of like a trick question, but I think you could do it.
Okay. Give it to me.
What month of the year has 28 days?
February.
February?
Yeah, right?
What month of the year has 28 days? Apúrele.
May?
May?
No,
You guys both got it wrong.
It's the groundhog month.
right?
Yeah, right? Because there's a month that like it's
Leaps.
groundhog.
Oh no,
like
leaps?
that.
You're talking about leap month, right?
What is it? Month?
All of them have at least 28 days, bitches.
Oh, I thought you were saying which one ended with 28
No, I just
days.
said which one has 28 days.
Fuck her,
All
I'll
have
show you.
28 days.
Well, which one actually only has 28 days? I mean,
But I didn't say only.
But we still
and I
want to
didn't
know.
say you're the host, darling. Be asking the
Well,
question.
February has the
Yeah,
the
right?
leap. Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
he kind of was right.
So I kind of was right.
No.
Let me watch it because I think you asked which month has 28 days.
Which one has 28 days? They all have 28 days.
True.
he was like, I'm smart.
But overall, I think you're pretty smart.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty.
Yeah, he's pretty smart.
Pasé la testa, amigas.
The continents was all I needed to be like, he's smart.
Dude,
like the
literally.
fact, I literally was like, what the fuck?
A
I
lot of
honestly
people
feel like people
cannot.
fail that one, but I'm like, are you that stupid?
You're
like,
I don't, it's 'cause I get mixed up with like.
There's just a lot.
Louie's
No.
like, yeah, me taking it all
Like-
personal.
like a lot of
He's saying
people.
in general. You're like,
For-
you like
It,
the
it just depends whether you paid attention in geography or
The
not.
one that I
didn't.
suck, the things that I suck with are the capitals.
Oh, I cannot name
Bitch,
capitals.
the capital.
Save
Like
your
the
life.
capital of California, the capital
Oh,
of
the capital of
Arizona.
California, Sacramento.
Everybody knows that.
That
babe.
one's easy.
Because we live here.
Fuck.
What about Arizona?
What about Arizona?
Hawaii.
Bitch.
It's
Oh, yeah, that's
Phoenix,
Phoenix.
No, it's.
Right? It is Phoenix.
Right?
Sepa la verga, amigas.
I know, I was like,
moving
let's not
on.
even get- I know, I was like, we're not
I don't
gonna
know
get
those.
into
Those
it.
are the ones that are like complicated because I usually
Yeah.
want to say like the city that I know is like the most known, but
Yes,
not always
I was gonna
like
say
the
that.
most known one.
Yeah.
Because I know
part.
Texas is Austin, not
Oh, I don't know that
Houston.
one.
No, it is Houston. It's Houston.
Houston, I'm deceased.
Really?
It's Houston.
No, look it up. It's Austin.
Alejandro.
I'm like
bitch,
producción.
Austin, Houston.
Producción.
Let's
Pablo
bet on it. Let's bet on it. A
Texas.
shot. Let's bet a shot on it.
Bitch.
I'm like the stakes are higher.
I
What is
say
it?
Houston.
I say Austin. You gotta say
Dallas.
something. Okay, Dallas.
Dallas.
Might be. I actually forgot
would
about
be.
Dallas.
Austin.
Hey! I knew it.
Shot.
It's because for
Shot.
that one, I want to say Houston is like usually known to be like the most
Oh,
popular.
it's like the bigger city?
the bigger city, but not always the bigger is the best. So
Bitch.
it's Austin. But I've heard Austin's boring.
Damn.
Austin.
Is
I don't
it?
think. Oh, I've been to Austin. No, I've heard Austin is fun. Austin,
Have
Texas.
I been to Austin? I've been to where Adam's from. Adam,
from-
San
Adam is
San Antonio. I've been
And
to
then
San Antonio.
Austin has like a good like nightlife.
I've never been. San Antonio is really pretty though. I will have to say it's very scenery. Not
Yeah.
nightlife vibes, but very scenery. I like that.
I still
That's
never
cute.
been to Texas.
And you
bitch.
still need a shot.
I know. Take a shot. I'll take it
Give
with
her
you
her
though.
shot.
Okay,
I'll
per.
take it with her.
I will.
Florida, I know Florida's.
It's,
Florida's is fuck. It's not the one you want to say. It's not
no,
Orlando
it's,
and it's not Miami.
It's Orlando.
No, it's not.
That's too
It's
No?
not.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Florida.
too like there's no fucking like
Fuck. Florida.
big building there. No, I do. It's something.
I get it.
Oh fuck! Give me a couple cities and I'll know it.
What
I'm
does it
like
start
bubbles.
with?
I know.
It starts with a T.
Tampa.
No, it's not Tampa. That's where Brandy was from. Brandy.
That's totally not the fucking island.
I forgot about Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
It's not Tampa.
Tropicana.
Bitch, the Jews.
Oh, the hotel, bitch. What is it?
know.
The capital of Florida is Tallahassee.
Tallahassee.
I'm
We
like,
don't
bitch,
know
I never
that
heard of
one.
that.
I never heard
I
of
mean, what's
that.
the closest biggest city next to that?
It's in Miami.
I'm
Give
like,
her
que
a
no se
shot.
te olvide. La
And
shot.
Louie.
Where's the tequila?
No, I didn't lose. I'm not taking a
Antes
shot.
de que empiece ya viene el chisme, amigas.
Yes.
But I'm pregnant.
Bitch. She's already like 3 shots
I'm like, I'm
in.
pregnant, Alan.
Hey, you know what was funny when I filmed with, because I know you guys recently just had them, when I filmed with the twins.
Oh,
Así
sí.
yo me enteré cuando se estaba embarazada.
Really?
Because in that whole episode, it looks
Yeah.
like she's drinking, but she was taking fake shots.
Yeah.
And
So
I remember I got there and I was like, ooh, we're going to drink today. Like, because
yeah.
they're always like down to drink.
Yeah.
I
Cheers.
got there and she's like, we're not drinking. And I was like, why?
You're like, something's
bored.
weird.
No, they told me right away because I guessed it.
You're
You're
pregnant,
pregnant.
You're like, that's what you're drinking.
Let's go. Cheers.
Cheers, losers.
Are we not taking a shot with us?
I didn't lose.
Okay.
Just take
Oh, shit.
Let's go. Cheers.
Okay, now that we got all of our like really funny, fun questions out of the way, there's a little preguntita that I've always wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I want to pick your brain. Just kidding. No, it's nothing crazy.
Okay.
But okay, so I feel like you started Noche de Pendejadas before like podcasts got really popular. So I'm like genuinely really curious to know like how you came up with that. Like, was it just something you're like, oh, I want to do this for fun, or like?
You know what it was? I recently was just talking to someone about that. I'm really good at giving other people ideas. I'm better at giving ideas than like giving myself ideas.
A ver, dame una.
So, like, no, la cobro. No, but
10%.
it really was like, it really started off with me giving this idea to someone and them kind of rejecting it.
They were like,
and
eh.
it was kind of just like, oh, well, you know what? I really fuck with this idea. So déjales cuento. So me acuerdo que, you remember Annette had her smoking show?
Yes.
Long
Yes,
time
Area
ago,
69.
right?
Yes.
So when she had her Area 69, if you guys remember, if you guys are OG fans, she used to have her smoking show. Y llegó un punto on the Instagram was kind of like tackling
IGTV.
her down. IGTV was
Yes.
kind of like
IGTV.
almost gonna delete her whole account because she was
No
like
way.
smoking like on the platform very like aggressively. So it was very much, she was kind of trying to like rebrand. She was kind of trying to like figure something or what direction to like take Area 69 through, right? So un día me acuerdo que andábamos todos borrachos. We were at our house. We were just casually drinking.
Yeah.
Y me acuerdo que en una plática, I told you, I was like, hey, why don't you just like kind of invite people and interview them? And it can still like, maybe if you guys aren't smoking on camera, maybe
off
you guys
camera.
can smoke off of camera
Yeah.
and talk about like your first time smoking or interview them, kind of still basing it off of like the original like, you know, Area 69
Yeah.
thing, but just kind of now making it more like interview, right?
But people like already knew that she was already high, so it was
Yeah,
still like
yeah.
the
So
same
it was kind
concept.
of like you're just gonna go ahead and pop up the video, and you're just gonna get high while you're listening
Yeah.
to these high stories,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
She was still
Yes.
gonna ask them
That's sickening.
story times about them being high, whatever. So me acuerdo cuando le dije, it was kind of just like one of those ideas. She never was like, no me gusta. It was kind of like, yeah. But you know your friends, you know
was like,
your
"Oh,
friends,
that's
when they're like, yeah,
cute."
pero no, that's cute, but I'm not gonna do it.
She's like that in her head. She's like, that's fucking stupid.
That's stupid. It really was like that. So I really like kind of, you know, le di la idea. And she was like, no, I don't think I want to go that route.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's not something I want to do. Y me acuerdo que at the time when I first started kind of like looking into like, you know, that idea, me acuerdo que yo me molestaba mucho because I would see a lot of, you know, influencers. And I feel like, especially us in the Latino world, I feel like whenever you'd see like an influencer, you know, getting interviewed by an Ellen or by a very big, you know, like, you know, podcast or whatever.
yeah.
It would
Like a
always
talk
be
show.
a talk show. It would
Yeah.
always be like a lot of gringos, like the gringo influencers,
Yeah.
right? Because it was what was more mainstream, what was more to like the American audience. So me acuerdo cuando empecé, after I gave her the idea, pasaron meses, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, maybe I'll give her the idea, keep it on the shelf. If she
Yeah.
wants to use it, you know, si le di la
Yeah.
idea a ella. Pero como nunca la quiso usar, I was kind of more like, you know what? I would sleep on it and I would be like, you know what? This is kind of cool. Like I grew up with Don Francisco.
Yes.
I was very much like a novelas, and I was very much like, I used to watch Gordo y la Flaca. Me gustaba siempre el chisme.
Yeah.
And to this day, I've always liked the chisme.
Yeah.
Y me acuerdo cuando yo empecé, I was like, you know what? Si no le gustó la idea a ella, a mí sí.
Yes.
And I started, I loved the idea. Like, I loved, and at the beginning, it kind of was very different to what it was now. I feel like at the beginning, it was very much like drama, right? Like, we're just gonna come on here. It's a 10-15 minute video. And we're just gonna talk about drama.
Shorter,
well, when you guys were on it the first time, I think yours was like 18 minutes. Yours was maybe like 20-25 minutes. And it was literally just like addressing drama. It wasn't even about like who is Louie or who is Yoatzi. I remember in your first episode, it was very much like, I remember we were, it was a lot. We did the lie detector test.
We're doing the lie detector.
Yes.
He was like, are you really happy in your relationship?
Hey, your ex-baby daddy was watching this shit get filmed.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm happy. Literally.
I literally remember. It was like nada que ver.
it.
It was nada que ver with what it was now.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first started it, I started like thinking about it. I was like, maybe I can do this interview shit, right? Like just for fun. Me acuerdo que the first person that I hit up was Candy Lover, right? Because at the time I would talk to her a lot. I mean, I still do, but she's super busy now. Y también yo. But at the time we would text a lot, and I was like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, let me ask her. I bet if she's on board with like, what the idea, because it was like something new. I was gonna be like, hey, come over. We're gonna film on my fucking iPhone, and I'm gonna ask you drama questions, right?
Like it was whole new.
It was like something new, right? And it was at the time where drama channels were as big, but they were happening, but we were kind of avoiding them. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, you know what? Maybe I can take on that. Like, tell me about this pedo, but like you feel comfortable with it.
You're giving them the chance to speak on it
on their terms, right? So me acuerdo when I first had Candy Lover, I did the first season. It was good. I was like, oh, this is cool. People like it. Like, obviamente nada que ver con lo que es hoy. But I was like, all right, let's fuck with it. Second season came about. I remember, I think the second season, me acuerdo que mi papá me hizo like a whole backdrop. Like, I literally, I had, you know what it is? With this project, I feel like I always had like bigger visions. But it was very much like, is it gonna hit or is it gonna not? Should I waste my money and my time on making it? Or is it just gonna be something that people are gonna see like any other little YouTube video, right? So me acuerdo when I finally had my dad and my brother built me like a little mini stage at my house. I was like, I'm gonna go all out. Me acuerdo that
did.
I did, dude. We went from
seeing
filming on iPhone cameras. The first season was filmed on iPhones and only for IGTV.
I remember that.
The second season, contraté a videographer. We went in with the cameras. We had hella issues with audio because at the time, we didn't know about this. Well, I mean, they existed, but I really no sabía, right? And at the time, I didn't think about it as a podcast. It was more as like a little mini show type of shit. Y después de eso, every other season, I kept upgrading, and I feel like the podcast really reached like a level of success or like a level of like where people were really fucking with it, maybe like a year and a half ago. It really was like a couple, and it was only because of TikTok.
You think
that's
so?
where like they started like the clips.
1,000%. Porque yo antes, cuando yo empecé a hacer, when I first started doing the podcast or like the show, me acuerdo that I was always against TikTok and Musical.ly.
Okay.
But why? Because I've never been a dancer. Like, I feel like I look cringe as fuck when I lip sync to a song. Like, I can't. You're like, a ver. But you know what I mean? Like, a veces te sientes como like, I'm not a dancer.
It's not your space.
And I'm not like one to like now ya le agarro el pedo. But like, I feel like at the time I was very much like, wait, like,
what am I going to do?
Like, this is embarrassing. So I wouldn't get on the platform. I had an account, but I wouldn't be on TikTok or Musical.ly at the time, like religiously. Because I feel like, I know you were on Musical.ly when it fucking was popping. No, literally not. But I feel like, were you on Musical.ly?
I was.
You were, but like, were you like crazy as on it as you were on Instagram and YouTube?
Bitch, she got like verified before I did.
Dude,
she had like hella followers.
Popped off real quick, but then I got scared, so I stopped using it.
But you know what? With Musical.ly though, when I was in Musical.ly, I remember I had a contract with Musical.ly itself. Really? We can't believe it.
Are you sure?
No. But I remember I had a going live contract at the time, and I remember they basically were like, okay, you can go live this many hours, and we're gonna boost your account, and like hella people would come onto the live stream.
That's
But this was
cool.
like during Musical.ly days.
Okay,
So me
not
acuerdo cuando
TikTok.
lo hicieron TikTok, I was very much like, nah, like I'm not really trying to do like the dances. I'm not trying to do the lip syncs. And I kind of was avoiding TikTok for a while. I kind of just had a following, but I feel like I wasn't really like
posting.
doing shit on TikTok. Like, I swear to
Uh-huh.
God, I think I would only post when I would have like contracts that would be like, oh, you have to post on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Oh, shit.
So like cada vez que me miraban en TikTok era porque era un sponsored post,
Yeah.
right? And it wouldn't do good because pues
you were
nadie
like,
que
eh.
ver on the app. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
free money. Ah,
You're like,
You're
it's
like,
uploaded.
you're like, whatever. If it does horrible, who cares? But
Forget
you know
about
what I
it.
mean? Like I'm like, lock it away. Delete that. I'm like, I'm not gonna show my analytics. 'Cause it did
What
horrible.
analytics?
But I swear to God, it was like that. And then I feel like maybe like a year, maybe like 2 years ago, to be exact, I started doing like the little TikToks that I do. And I feel like it wasn't until then that I feel like I started seeing a lot of people on TikTok really like hype up the podcast. And I feel like that drove a lot of audiences from like TikTok or whatever platform they were seeing those little short videos onto like
That's
the full video.
super, super
Yeah,
cool.
no, it's so cool because I feel like literally everything you just said. I remember from the beginning when you started Noche de Pendejadas, and I feel like from like an outside POV, you could always tell that it was something that you were passionate about
Oh,
because
yeah,
it looked like
100%,
you went like
dude.
full in. And
Like, I feel
even-
like you always went full in with like everything.
Yeah, so even like when you built like the little stage and everything, I was like, oh, this is something he like is
He like
really
is
enjoying.
passionate.
I literally
about.
was talking, no sé a quién le estaba platicando esto, but it was funny because even though I was going full in with the bitch, like it wasn't until maybe like 2 years ago again where I really was okay with doing Noche de Pendejadas full force because there was a time where me molestaba cuando gente would be like, oh my God, or where they would know me only because of the podcast. Me molestaba.
You were like,
Yeah,
No
I
way.
hated it. I would get
So,
mad.
They would tell you like, "Oh, I watch your podcast," or
Well, I wouldn't get mad.
no,
no,
not get mad, but like
exagerando.
maybe like you're like I've done so many other things. So was it like
Yes,
this is how you
it was
found me?
exactly that. I think it wasn't even like, oh, this is how you found me. I think for me, it was very much like, bitch, I've been uploading a YouTube video every single day
I
for
remember,
years.
Alan.
And like, I've worked my ass off on those videos. I've
Yeah.
literally like been doing like all the shit that I was doing. And like, you're telling me that like, this is what you know me for? I'm like, this?
from Noche de
I'm like,
Pendejadas.
Noche de Pendejadas. But it really was like me molestaba because I'm like, dude, like I've been doing this shit for so long. I've been, you know, fucking making videos every single day, which at the time era algo que no se miraba mucho. You know what I mean? Like,
You're
I
so
feel like the average
dedicated.
YouTuber uploads like maybe 1 or 2 like videos a week.
Yes.
You know, yo estaba subiendo lunes a viernes, entonces sí me molestaba. But like I said, maybe like 2 years ago, I started kind of changing my mindset, and I was like, you know what? Like I really am, you know, putting so much time, so much effort, so much money into this project that I'm super passionate about. ¿Por qué me va a molestar que la gente me conozcan de eso?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it is what I fucking do. If you don't watch
Yeah.
my vlogs, I'm sorry for you. De lo que te
You're missing
pierdes.
out.
But
Yeah.
like, it's very much like I can't get like upset if that really is what people
Yeah.
are like watching. You know what I mean? So I think like for a while, I was very much kind of like, oh, like I don't want to be known for the guy that interviews people or the
Yeah.
guy that does podcasts because I do so much more than just
many
that.
things.
Yeah.
But then llegó un tiempo where I was like, I'm okay with being known for that
Yeah.
because le pongo mucho tiempo.
I
a lo
feel
que
like
hago.
it's like your new era.
Yes.
It's like a
Uh-huh.
new era for you, and I feel like it looks so good. Every time I think of Alan, I think of the color royal blue.
Blue, yeah.
Yes.
Royal
Uh-huh.
blue, and like I feel like it's just your new era, and it goes so well.
Because I've been knowing you guys. Funny story. Well, not really a story. Like funny. I actually went through our DMs today because I was like, I want to go
Shut
back.
the
Because
fuck
for those
up.
of you guys that don't know, I've known Louie more than I've known Yoatzi. Because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friendship kind of started with Louie, y luego después y te
Ended with
conocí.
Yoatzi.
No, y te conocí a ti through him,
Through
right?
Louie,
Like
yes.
it was really like that. And I was going back to see like desde cuando nos conocemos, and we go back to like 2016, bitch.
Oh shit.
when Travis was
2016.
born, for
Yeah.
7 years,
En
almost
abril.
8 years.
¿Cuándo nació Travis?
In October.
So that
So
same
you guys
year.
have 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
El
Oh my God.
first message que tenemos was from April.
Oh my god, I need to go back and see those messages.
No,
What
it
the
literally
fuck?
is. When I look back, I'm like, it's kind of cringe.
It's
Ah!
because no, it's because I think you were one of the first like beauty influencers that I started
Mm-hmm.
following. And so I know that we've been following each other for like hella long time
years,
ago.
yeah.
Even like, well, I mean, for a lot of the OGs, y'all have seen a lot of our old like
Yeah.
YouTube videos and stuff. So that's crazy.
so
but
crazy.
it's literally what you said, like how this is like a whole new like era.
Era, mhm.
Cause like I'm gonna be straight up, man.
Ay,
You're not
bien.
smart.
Tell him
alright?
shit.
No, not him. You. Nah, just kidding.
I'm like-
No, it's because even like when me and Yoatzi first were gonna start Pretty Not Smart, I feel like Yoatzi was more excited about it than I was.
Yeah,
and
dude,
she
he
was.
was very like.
She was the one who kept.
I don't
want
want to do this.
No, not that I didn't want to do it. I just had so many other. I mean, obviously, I post like on every other platform.
Yeah.
I was like way more consistent on YouTube. That one, me estresaba thinking like, oh shit, another platform I'm gonna have to be like posting on. But then also, I just didn't think like that my viewers were gonna like fuck with it. Because like you said, like for example, you had so many YouTube videos and IG stuff that you're posting our pictures. So for me, that's how I knew I was getting like my perras, YouTube, Instagram.
Where
and
you had like their loyal connection.
yeah, so then I was like, no one's gonna watch me talk. Like I swear I was like, so I felt like I wasn't putting a lot of
Effort.
He really didn't want to.
Yeah, I was just
and then
like,
I got pregnant.
So
So,
it kinda
it
laid
put
it
a,
off.
a big halt. So dude,
Yeah.
our podcast like took over a year for us to just finally do it.
But I really do
longer.
feel like you said, I feel like it's in eras because I feel like the way I see even us, like as content creators, because we've been knowing each other and seeing each
Yeah.
other's content kind of
How
grow,
it grows and
and like
moves
what
with
you've
the
been. Because when I
flow.
met you, you were a mommy, but you weren't doing like mommy
Mom content.
content.
No, I
you know what
was
I mean? Like you were
not
doing
at
beauty
all.
stuff. When I met you, like I feel like your content is very similar, but very different from what
Yeah.
it was
We're,
in
like
the
in
beginning.
different eras.
Yeah,
In different
very.
era. And I feel like, you know what it is too? I feel like tenemos que saber adaptarnos in the new era, especially when we're
Yes.
influencers. Does that happen to you guys? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like, especially because we've been doing this shit for so long and there's a lot of new faces where you're like,
Yeah.
wait, ¿en dónde quedo yo en esta era of time?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Honestly, I feel like the perfect example too is with even like our makeup right
Yeah.
now. Bitch, like back then, anything that all we were gonna film had to be like full B, and all
Full
of us right
glam.
now.
Right now
are
we're all
very,
like natural. Our
You're
No,
like,
it's
get
just-
maquillaje.
No, it's because it's very much like soft girl
We're like
glam
casual
and
glam, no fucking crazy eyeshadow.
But
before
I
we
also do
were.
feel like it has a lot to do with like the people we are now.
yeah.
I
That's
feel
what I'm
like we
saying.
were
It's
like little chamaquillos back in the day. Like
we had more time.
we had more, it really is. We had
I
more
only had
time
one kid.
though, and we only had like one bill.
Oh
Like
my god!
I
bitch, me at my
remember
parents'
can we
house.
no, I literally swear because I feel like that has a lot to do with it because even when I talk about with the net, right? Like bitch, like how do we not have time to kick it now, or how do we not have time to like do shit? Because when we lived in the apartment, we only really had the bill of like literally like a car payment and rent, right?
Yeah.
Which is like a lot.
Yes.
But like I feel like at the time, like it was very much like, oh, YouTube got us, right?
Yeah.
Because gracias a Dios we were doing good money on YouTube to where like that was like our only bills.
Yeah.
But I feel like as we get like older and our dreams kind of like
They grow.
they grow, our
definitely
bills grow too. So it's like, bitch, no
Dude,
tengo tiempo para hacerme
100%.
pendejo.
Ah, you're like quick glam.
Me quiero hacer
Literally, like,
pendeja,
tengo que
pero no te
ponerme a
puedes.
trabajar.
Yeah.
Like honestly, a veces, you know, when they say more money, more problems.
It really is.
That definitely is true. Like, I mean, it's a blessing that we get to do this and we get to make the money that we do. Pero también nos estresamos.
Okay, I have another little preguntita
Okay.
for you. So I know you've been very open about like your weight loss and all of that. And I have a question that I feel like has always been in my head. And I know you've talked about it very briefly, but I was like, I want to see if you can go a little bit further into it. So there's like this little, I guess you could say it's like a saying where sometimes when people have experienced like weight loss, they'll say that they feel like society or people on a day-to-day basis has treated them differently when they lose weight. Do you feel like
1,000%?
Yeah?
Really?
I do.
like
I
what do
feel
you
like,
notice?
You know what it is? I feel like la gente, I feel like you're more approachable. Or you're just more, I don't know what it is, but I feel like for me personally, because I feel like I can't talk for everyone.
Yeah.
So I got weight loss surgery 2 years ago. Casi este año cumplo
Oh,
2
that's gonna be
años.
2
It's
years.
been, yeah, it's gone by quick. But I feel like obviamente ustedes me han conocido por muchos años. I feel like I've always kind of have fluctuated with weight. I feel like you guys have always seen me either be super big or super thin, right? Like I feel like I've always fluctuated. And I definitely do feel like whenever I'm at like my thinnest or whenever I'm like whenever I lose weight, como que
Yeah.
la gente sí te trata diferente. En la manera de que, pues, obviamente they compliment you more. Like, they dicen, ay, qué guapo. Which is like something que a lo mejor antes no te lo decían. Which I always say I understand because, like, I'm not going to get mad. Like, if you never told me I looked cute when I was big, I'm not going to fucking confront you about it because at the time, para ti, pues, no estaba bonita.
He's not clocking you.
I know, I'm like,
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying in general. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
right.
like when people like when I do notice like people being like I feel like now I notice people like compliment me more than they did when I was bigger.
Like, you're just
and I
getting more
understand that more because it's like, it's okay. Yo también, like as a human being, there's people where I'm like, I know, like they're not that cute. Not necessarily for their weight, but I feel like we all kind of have different perspectives when it comes to like beauty or what we find attractive. And I feel like for a lot of people with me, I feel like they kind of compliment me more when I look my thinnest because para ellos me miro mejor. I don't know if it's that's a thing, but I feel like I don't dwell on that too much because even at the time, or I don't really care too much about that because at the time, pues yo tampoco no me sentía a lo mejor. So I wasn't really like, oh, I feel cute. Why is no one complimenting me? Because at the time I'm like, wait, pues no, pues mírate cómo te miras. ¿Quién te va a decir que estás cute? You know what I mean? So I feel like it does happen though. It happens with brands. You know, I feel like when I was really, you know, when I was bigger, I've talked about this before. When I was bigger, I would try to get my management to like help me do like a lot of like clothing deals, like, you know, with clothing brands. And they would always come back like, oh no, you know, not interested. And I feel like now that I've lost weight, all these brands that were not interested, like have came back and were like, hey, you know,
so you feel like doors opened. Like Definitely. You're just like, all of a sudden these brands want to work with me now.
I feel like, you know, but I feel like because it also fits like, it sucks to say, but I do feel like, which is something that I feel like should definitely be changed. I do feel like in society, I do feel like people see thin as more attractive than like, you know, a bigger person. And I feel like that's something super sad. And I feel like I've been able to experience both, you know, being at my heaviest and being at my thinnest and seeing how people treat me. Y como te digo, I've never took anything personal, pero sí miro. See miro and I'm like, clock that shit. Like, no,
I'll remember this bitch.
No, because even now, like, with my management, like, you know, brands that kind of rejected me back in the day, like, they've reached back out, and I've kind of had to be like, oh, I'm gonna reject y'all now. Because it does come down to me, I'm just more like, okay, no me querías cuando estaba gordito, ahora chinga tu madre cuando estoy flaquito.
You're like, I'm good, babe.
Like, but come back.
You're like, how much?
I'm like, ¿cuánto me están ofreciendo? A lo mejor sí lo considero. But I feel like it does happen, and I feel like I've talked to a lot of people, you know, that have dealt with like weight issues. People do treat you differently. I feel like people like te miran diferente and they make you feel different.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot of like clips, especially on TikTok, of people posting like when it's been like weight loss, and they always just say how it's like a mind fuck to them. They're like, it's a mind fuck seeing how like society sometimes, like, I see how people treat me different. I see how some people will approach me differently. I see how like, I remember I saw this one TikTok of a girl a long time ago of her saying that like something so small where like a gesture, like people will hold, now that she's like lost a lot of weight, people will hold the door for her. Not so much like that they're like, oh, sexy ass girl. No, but just more like being more kinder or being more like respectful. Like the whole
That is a thing. I mean, it's never happened to me like that, Vice.
Just
but it's just like little gestures.
But to women, it does happen. I've heard a lot that like when like overweight women that lose a lot of weight, like la vida les cambia en la manera de que like la gente como que ya no son invisibles.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's very much a thing because like when you're, but you know what it is? I feel like it also has a lot to do with perspective. I'm like, that's the word of the day. Perspective. Because cuando yo pesaba 321 pounds, obviously I didn't, you know, whenever I would see myself in the mirror, me miraba y no me gustaba lo que miraba. Entonces I would kind of project that onto like everyone
like
and to the universe. My
too.
confidence. Yeah, like to me it's like, si yo me miro al espejo y no me gusta, entonces en mi mente digo, pues a la gente menos. A la gente es menos. So a lot of it, I feel like when, you know, I've been overweight kind of my whole life, and I feel like this has been the thinnest I've ever been. But I feel like a lot of it does have to be like how you know, value yourself as a person. Because there 100%. Is people that are overweight and they're living their best life. They feel like they live the best. And they project that y la gente los trata bien. But I feel like for me, it was, a mí no me gustaba como me miraba. Like I felt like even the comments were like a constant reminder of like, you look like fucking shit. So it really was like like I think I also let myself kind of sabotage myself because en ese tiempo como que no me dejaba yo ni quererme a mí mismo. You know what I mean? And I feel like during that time when I was really big, I feel like a lot of, especially my supporters, would always be like, oh, I don't know why you talk so down on yourself for being overweight. Why can't you be like, you know, those people that are overweight and like are always talking about, you know, it's okay to be overweight. And to me, it was like, I'm not going to do that online because I didn't feel okay being overweight. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't feel good. So, ¿pa qué yo voy a ir online and being like, oh,
pretend that you were.
Mírenme, aquí a 321 pounds, I look and feel good when I did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I feel like actually me and Yoatzi talked about that in another episode. We were saying how like people's energy and their aura really does people
Affect
pick up
how
on it.
people
How
see
people
you.
like treat you and how people like pick up on it and everything. So I feel like I never saw it that way, but that makes sense. Like
I have a question. So, I mean, I know you have a boyfriend, but do you get hit on more now that you lost weight?
I do.
Like just
I'm
people
not
in your
gonna
DMs
lie.
and stuff.
Like
or
people
like
citing
in
your
person.
DMs or like in
in
person?
general, like in person and in DMs.
You're
Not
like
like that.
Tuesday.
No, not like that. But like I will get like I feel like when I was really overweight, like I really wouldn't get complimented like crazy like that by like men or whatever. But I feel like now we've seen it a lot in person. A lot when we go to WeHo. You know, when we go to WeHo, like, it's funny because me and my boyfriend will laugh at it. Like, there was this one time that it was so fucked up because we literally laughed at someone's in someone's face because como que no entendía que like, you know, like that we were together. So he was like trying to hit on me really bad. We were outside the pizzeria. If you guys have ever been to the pizzeria, if you have ever been to WeHo, you guys know la pizzeria after a fucking crazy night of drinking. Ay, casi todos los gays se van a comer.
Yeah, literally like everybody's there.
It's bomb.
So I remember this one time. It sounds really fucked up when I said that we laughed at his face, but déjales explico, amigas. Antes de que me cancelen. They're like, damn, he's bitch. I'm like, no wonder they never complimented him before. No, but I remember we were outside la pizzeria and my boyfriend was actually tying my shoe. Me estaba, you know, tie my shoe. And you already know, I feel like a lot of people in WeHo are very touchy.
Oh my God.
You know, like, a veces hasta cuando they're passing by you, te agarran.
Just like,
you know, they're very touchy, and I feel like sometimes it's like, girl, you don't gotta be touchy for what you do. You know, like, you don't gotta be all that. Y me acuerdo que he was tying my shoe, y alguien se vino, and he's like, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful.
To you?
To me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank you. Yo pensando que era alguien que me conocía, you know, I was trying to be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And me and my boyfriend were just kind of like looking at each other, and we're like, oh, this is awkward. But we were kind of giggling because it was awkward because ya estaba borracho también el muchacho. So we didn't know how to be like, okay, ya, mi amor, vete. Ya sé que estoy guapo. Gracias. I'm like, ya chingó su madre. Su casa. So we didn't know how to be like, okay. And I was like, oh, thank you, you know, kind of like quitándome para que ya no me abrazara because my boyfriend was still like down there fucking tying my shoe as he was looking as everything was going on. Y me acuerdo que le dije and I was like, oh, thank you so much. He's like, no, but for real, you're so beautiful.
Damn.
Like
still going in.
Like still going in. And I'm like, okay, no entiende que pues obviamente así no son las cosas. And I remember I looked at my boyfriend because we were like, you know, like when you're in an awkward situation and you're like, oh my God, what do I say? What do I do? ¿Cómo me lo quito encima? And I remember we just started cracking up. We were drunk too, but we were like, oh my God, ¿cómo nos lo quitamos encima? And I literally just told the guy, I was just like, oh, thank you, you know, but like I'm here with my boyfriend. Yeah. And he was like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry. And I was like, pero vete. Because he was still like hugging me. Yeah. So I do feel like, you know, and Danny sees it too, like he doesn't get mad. Like I feel like if anything, like he doesn't like fucking nunca me dice nada. Like I feel like he's like, oh, did you see that person? Like te dijo esto, everything. Like I feel like we get it a lot when we go out and people don't know that we're like together because cuando estás en la peda, cada quien we're all like partying and everything. Yeah. And I feel like I do get hit on more now, but I feel like to me, ¿cómo te digo? Like no es algo que es like that I like think about too much. Like to me, it's if anything, it's funny. Because I don't know what it feels like to get hit on. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like if any of you girls or anyone that has ever been like plus size, does that happen to y'all where like, you know, where you're freshly skinny? Not freshly skinny. Fresh BBL. Me, bitch. I've been fresh BBL. Fresh off the doctor's bed. Me after weight loss surgery. No, but like has that ever happened to you guys where like maybe when you're out in public or just in general, when you like lose weight or you start feeling better and people compliment you, like you can't take a compliment, you don't know how to act.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I am. I'm like, me estás mintiendo que.
You're like, shut up,
But
bitch.
because but again, going back to like how your mind works, I feel like even when I was bigger, I feel like whenever people would compliment me, because I don't want to say that no one would compliment me. There was people that complimented me when I was big. Yo en mi mente, I would always be like, are they for reals or are they like trying to make
like
fun
trying to be
of me?
nice
Or trying to be nice.
Oh shit, wait, that's bad. Like if you're thinking like, wait, are they like
they making
joking?
But
fun
again,
of
it
me?
was because it was my mental, because it was
And they
like how
probably
my
didn't
head.
mean it.
They didn't mean it. So I feel like
No, they did
obviously-
mean that you
you're
were
like, they did mean it. In a bad way, man.
Oh, that you were good looking.
No, you're like good looking.
I'm all nervous. I'm like, no.
It was all you, bitch.
You're like, you're one of
You're
the
like, I
people.
mean it.
No,
did.
you're like, you just recently started commenting on my picture.
Before I never liked it, imagine.
Y'all fucking
I
knew.
did.
No, but you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of it has to do with like your mindset.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I feel like now it's like if I get complimented, it's like even though I don't know how to react to it, like
Yeah.
I'm just very much like, oh, thank you. But like in my head,
pero ¿qué
because,
quieres?
Like, ¿qué quieres? I'm like, takes out my
Right away, you're like, oh.
I'm bent over, bitch. No, but it is very much like I don't know how to take it because it's like something that I wouldn't kind of live through a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like
that
I would.
totally
It wasn't
makes
like I was going to the
It's
club.
like fresh to you.
Yes, and when I would go to the club when I was bigger, like a lot of girls would compliment me, like on my makeup. It was never like attention from like males. Do you get me? Like
see
so.
what you're saying.
So I feel like now it's like like I don't really care for it. It's kind of like okay, you think I'm cute.
You're like, I know, I've heard of it.
You know what else I noticed?
Uh-huh.
Your style changed a lot.
Oh yeah, yes.
I feel like I'm gonna assume you just feel better, so you wanted to get a little
I
more.
do. But in what way do you feel like it's changed? A ver, dime. Like, para ver si estás correcta o
No, like your style just changed, but it like fits you really well. And like I feel like you found your style right now.
And you know what it is too? Maybe I feel like we're both in the same. Maybe it's just our age, but I think it has for me. It had a lot to do with my weight loss. I feel like now a lot of people see more like boy Alan.
Yeah.
Right?
Boy
Like you're like
Alan.
boy.
That's just me.
I see someone confused.
She's like, boy?
I'm like Glenn or Glenda.
No, but you know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people like me
outside of
before,
glam.
like if I were to come like to do like a video or something, I would always be like, oh my God, I have to be in glam
Full
because
beat.
that's
Like
when
full beat.
full beat because to me that was like, oh, that's when you look the best. You know what I mean? So to me, like also makeup when I was bigger, I feel like it also was like like lo usaba también para sentirme hasta más mejor.
I was gonna say
Si
like
me
a
sentía
confidence
como,
booster.
yes, it was a
Love
confident
that.
booster for sure. Like si me sentía como mierda, I was like, me voy a poner un pinche, una libra de maquillaje and I'm gonna look good. I got
Because
crease.
you were like, bitch, I know how to do glam.
And I feel like now I'm just like, no, bitch. Like I feel like I've also been loving how I look, more chill vibes, more tone.
Like
I don't
Louie
feel
and
like I
his
gotta
boy
do the
glam.
most. I feel like I just don't gotta do the most. You're like, this is my girl glam. But do you feel that way too? Because I feel like your style has changed a lot.
But I think it is, yeah, I think
What do you
one,
feel
it's
like was it for you?
style. For definitely style, and then also just like, I don't think I'm as artistic with my makeup the way that I was before. So I think like this, I feel like is really fun to me now. Like I actually enjoy doing like my natural glam.
potential.
No, I can still go a little bit more.
Full perra potential.
But I feel
now.
like if I try to do like my full glam like I used to, I get bored.
But
Like,
I feel like no. I feel like your new full perra potential is different because like
No.
before, no, but I said
A ver,
before.
dile.
I feel like his full perra was like cut crease, like the eyebrows really done. And now when he goes out to the club, I feel like he does this really nice like smoky
Subtle,
eye with like the inner corner, and you look so.
that's
sickening.
too like okay. So
How
that's
often
like
do you
my
bring that
events.
out, though?
I was gonna say that's only when it's like an important event where I really want to show out.
or
then
like
yes,
club
I'll do
vibes.
that.
Oh no, because
But
even
if-
club you.
I was gonna say if I'm going to a club, like my glam now, where I'll be like, bitch, I feel fine or whatever. I'll just fucking curl my lashes the way they are right now. I'll put mascara, and then I'll do like. I'll still do concealer and everything, kind of how I have it right now, just a little bit more coverage, but I won't do like full
You're
coverage. I won't do like a wing. I won't do anything like that. It'll be one up of what I have on right now. I won't even put on a lash or nothing.
So this would be like your base routine?
This is like my
Like your new glam vibes?
So this to me is almost like my full glam. Yes, maybe a little bit more.
More full coverage a little
And
bit?
like-
Yeah, I'm like,
No, this
like,
is my
you
this is
need
as
full coverage.
this is as more coverage as I go. I
Oh,
hate how
really,
full coverage
bitch?
looks on me now.
I didn't know that.
I will not put a
Because
full
this is
coverage
my boy
foundation.
glam, but like I cannot do this and be like if you were to be like, oh, let's go out and like be in full glam, and if I had this as my base, I wouldn't feel good.
And
Like
this looks
with
really
eyeshadow.
good.
No, I'll go out like this, like to the
Yeah.
club. Like this is my boy glam. But what I'm saying, like I can't build on top of this like my full glam. Because I feel like this makeup is like too subtle for like lashes, lipstick.
Yeah, yeah.
Like se mira awkward for me.
Yeah.
So
No,
you
I
need
feel
like a whole different base.
Like I need like
routine.
3 pounds of makeup.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I recently tried. I got really upset. Where the fuck did I go? Where was I going? I don't know where I was going. But I wanted to try to like draw in my eyebrows like I used to.
Okay,
So I started and I drew in my eyebrows and then I was like, oh, might as well just like, so I even carved them out because I don't carve my eyebrows anymore. So I carved them out and then I was like, okay. So I was like, let me do a full coverage foundation. Did a full coverage. So my routine was the way that I used to and I hated it. I was looking at myself and I was like,
Is it too much?
it was, yeah, I couldn't. And then, so this is basically like what I feel like really happy in. If anything, if I want to make this more glam, but not full like perra potential, I'll put on a little as half lash. I'll line my lips and I'll put like a glossier kind of lip. If anything, I'll do like highlight here and like in the inner corner and that's it. But it's basically this. Like I won't go more full coverage than this foundation because then I can't. I just.
You mentioned you're like I can't do it. No, but you mentioned that like what did you mention, bitch? No, but you mentioned something about like, you know, the times too. I also feel like it has a lot to do with times because I feel like whenever I do Noche de Pendejadas, I feel like I'm still stuck on like 2016 glam.
But it's because that's the
looks
thing.
so good on
like
camera.
when you were saying how like when
I
do
just
my
on camera?
No,
On camera.
it's exactly that. It's like when like Yoatzi said, when I do my full perra potential, if I'm gonna be like at an event or in front of cameras, I will go crazy with my makeup because it looks good on camera.
Like even at events now, you won't like. I mean, it just depends on the event. If it's like, oh, we're gonna do, I don't fucking know, like you guys doing like a Christmas party, I'm not gonna show up in full glam because I'm like that's too much.
Right, like I would show up in this glam too.
But you know what it is? Even when I would do glam, I don't know if it was just like a me thing. I'm like, this is all just fucking me having my. I think I always loved being in glam, but like I never liked being in glam for too long.
Yeah.
I feel like that's everyone.
Because my skin, and I feel like it also happens a lot with males. I don't know, maybe you can agree because I've heard this. Our skin just eats up our makeup faster.
Really?
Yeah. So to me, it's like I would look fresh and nice like the first hour, maybe 2, but maybe by the 5th hour, I'm like, girl, like you look like SpongeBob cuando está todo pinche.
All seco.
All seco, like literally. Because I feel like for me, I would glam, like even when I would go to an event, I would glam, I would look good as long as the lights are off. But as soon as you turn those bitches off, I'm like, I'm leaving, bitch. Like I gotta go out. Because my glam was so heavy at the time that like all the powders and everything would start kind of getting eaten up by the skin. Y se miraban todas las frown lines. So I feel like for me now, like you, like I feel like I feel good like this.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with going to events in boy glam now porque antes no. But I think it has a lot to do with my confidence now than how I had it before.
Oh, I love that. Do you guys miss the makeup era since you guys are both like big makeup gurus?
I do. For me, I kind of miss my artistic side.
Okay.
Because that's what I liked. I mean, like I would do like eyeshadow and like all this crazy shit. So I definitely still liked it.
You know what I miss? I miss when you would do like those crazy little like 15 second videos of you just being like perra, like those little like very like Nikita Dragon vibes, but when you would just like be posing. I miss that.
I do miss
Like those crazy when you would get in crazy ass outfits.
And my
Not crazy, but you know what I mean? Like very
Like
out of this
nails,
world
it's like,
outfits.
ooh.
How would you feel? Okay, so for you guys, because I feel like the baddie wardrobe. I'm your mama interviewing you guys.
I know, we're like, back on
baddie
Noche de
wardrobe.
Pendejadas, we're
Like,
like,
did you guys? Because I feel like you guys always wore very baddie like outfits. Did you guys ever feel like, oh my god, this is too much for wherever the fuck I was going? Because online it looked like, ooh, baddie, yes, like that's a crazy ass look online. Did you guys ever feel like, I know this is too much for me going to wherever I was going?
I think back then I definitely would strive. My outfit had to be really dramatic.
crazy.
I wanted people, like, even if they were like, bitch, like, why is he wearing that?
It's like all brunch, you're always with the Hana.
Yes, no, I swear to God, I feel like sometimes people would be like, bitch, but like that was what I would strive for. I was like, I want people to be like, why is he wearing that? But because, well, it sounds fucking annoying, but like I did like the attention.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like my nails too and all of that. So I feel like I don't really care.
I feel like I've never liked going out in glam.
No, and I remember you told me that once, and back then, how I would go If I go back in my camera roll,
Dude, Louie would go to Applebee's in full beach.
everywhere. Yes,
Everywhere,
everywhere.
full
Even in
beat.
Watsonville, like, well, now I'm like, maybe that's why everyone would stare at me, all right? But I would go everywhere and with a full face of makeup. If I was
Like
gonna go to Target,
Target.
I would go with lashes and
He's all
lipstick.
going to fucking like a little ass restaurant. You're all going in full.
No, literally. It's like,
Pues yo por eso no me gustaba usar mucho maquillaje going out because when I first started wearing makeup in high school, I started wearing maybe like my sophomore junior year. I would wear a little bit of makeup to school y yo siempre andaba en el bus. So like I didn't have, my parents would never take me to school. Yo siempre andaba en el bus. Like I got so good with the buses that we would go to the beach. We'd be like setting up like the bus comes at this time. Like we gotta be at that time. Like I loved going in the buses. Y me acuerdo cuando una vez, like a couple times that I went glammed. I feel like that's the reason why I kind of like stopped going out too much and glam, like casual vibes, like where I was like, I'm gonna just get ready and go out like that. Because no me gustaba cuando la gente se te quedaba mirando.
I see.
Me daba mucha ansiedad. I'm like, ¿y por qué me están mirando? And,
fuck off.
and in the bus, bitch, like the señores, the señoras. Y ahí tú con pinche tu máscara.
No, yeah,
ahí,
dude,
yo
they don't
ahí.
care. They're literally just like staring at
And
you.
they stare. So I feel like after like going through that, I feel like I would only be in full glam if I know I'm gonna be somewhere where I'm like, okay, Alanized is okay to go. Si no llega Jose.
For real, huh? Yeah, I feel like that was very me. I feel like eventually I kind of like toned it down and then I just fell out.
But I feel like you would always be like extra with your makeup and like outfits everywhere. Nunca te da vergüenza. A mí sí. A mí yo pienso que cuando, even when I would wear like the two-piece like Fashion Nova outfits, I have
even
so
with
many,
those, you'd be like,
I'd be like, I look ridiculous. I'm like, just for the pic. I'm like, take this shit off.
Take this
just
shit
for
off.
the pig and take it off.
But
No,
because I looked
actually.
crazy. Like, I have some pictures. I'll send them to you guys para que las pongan aquí. But like, it's like, mi amor, ¿qué estás haciendo?
No, but definitely I'll look back at so many of my pictures and stuff and I'm just like,
But you guys is like, I know, ¿qué estoy haciendo outfit that you guys look back or picture.
Bitch, I have the perfect outfit. And we got styled, eh? Remember? Ugh, we went to BeautyCon, bitch. I had this random ass two-piece with these sparkly ass boots.
the yellow
How much
one?
did you guys pay?
It was like white with a bunch
the
of
yellow one.
stripes.
Had the
Yellow, bitch. It was fucking disgusting. Like, I cannot believe the stylist literally let me walk out with that. I hate that. And
It was
have
her first time getting
nightmares.
styled.
It was.
I liked all of my
nightmares.
outfits from that weekend.
No, I don't know what the fuck she was thinking, letting me go
She's
out like
like,
that.
we're against Yoatzi.
Like,
que hacerle que
I
pase
have
el ridículo.
that was my first time too going to like a BeautyCon or
I
was it the other
remember.
one? I don't know. I think it was BeautyCon. So I was so nervous and I was like, Louie, I need your stylist, please. I want to look sickening, bitch. Que pinche vergüenza.
But you know why? It's because this bitch didn't have a sense of style. So,
Yo no
so le
sabía.
dijo a la girl, like, just dress me up. But I had a sense of style. So,
So
my
like, you
outfits,
knew what you liked and your vibe.
my
Yeah.
outfits, that same thing that she wore I wore a full purple sequenced outfit. And for me, I was like, that's
Yeah,
what I
look
like.
hot.
And so Yoatzi was just like, whatever you
post
want.
a picture, bitch. I look pinche.
I need to see that picture
ridícula.
afterwards.
I'm gonna show
I have a
you.
lot. I feel like a lot of, if you go back to like all my Instagram, I feel like a lot of like the Fashion Nova posts that I would post back
You were
there.
just
What
like-
Fashion Nova?
No, yes,
when they made us
because
post like 20 times a day.
I remember one. Yes, no, I remember one time, bitch. Casi me, ¿cómo se dice? They, how do you say? cut this part?
Cancel you,
Sue. How do
fire
say sue in
you,
Spanish?
sue you,
Sue?
demandarte.
Me mandaron.
Casi me demandaba Fashion Nova.
What?
Back in the day, dude.
Why? What
Because
the
I
fuck?
remember I had a contract with them. And allegedly.
Allegedly.
Pa' que no me demanden ahora sí. I remember I had a contract with them. And this was like when I was at my heaviest, right? I was like, yeah, I'm down for this contract. The money was good at the time. Now, like, they don't pay like crazy good. And I remember that I would kind of was stalling on the post. Like, they'd be like, hey, you need a post. And I'd be like, girl, none of this shit looks good on me. Like, what am I going to post?
Oh, so
right?
you would get the clothes and you were like not happy.
I'm
with
like
it.
not happy. Like, this shit
You're like, I tried.
I tried,
Pero es que no
bitch.
me iban con el cuerpo, güey. Yo cuando compraba ropa de ahí, yo miraba a las modelos y pensaba que me iba a quedar igual así.
Oh, those modelos are
los modelos,
bitch.
crop tops, bitch.
Así
Like, come
me
on,
pasaba a
like,
mí.
Alan, like, come on, babe. And I remember que it got to the point where, like, my contract was overdue, like, 8 months.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they should have.
I was like, they should have came for you.
Been in jail.
Take him right now.
No, literally, and I
8 months,
swear to
bitch.
God, dude, it was like backed up like that bad. But it's because like I would try to take these pictures y no, pues no salía, el modelo no se prestaba. And I remember they sent me a fucking
A
an
cease
email.
and desist.
No, que me van a llevar a colecciones porque con esos, si ustedes no saben, la mayoría de esas cosas ellos ya me habían pagado.
Oh, so they
So,
had already paid
ya me habían pagado, ya me había gastado el
pues
dinero.
con
Yo,
razón, you weren't fucking
razón,
posting
pendeja.
shit.
literally, ya,
He was like,
ya me había acabado el dinero.
Ya han pagado la renta como 10
Como
veces.
3 veces. Y ellos me encuentran su pinche post. And I remember they were like, hey, like, we're going to send you to collections if you don't like.
He's like, I already
finish."
posted it. You didn't see
No,
it?
bitch, I posted all those posts in like a week. I was like, no, colecciones.
Let's go
no,
look
mi
for a
amor.
week where he posted Fashion Nova straight.
I literally swear to God, I think I posted like twice a day, like for like a week. Because I was like, I gotta get these like 15 posts out of the way.
yeah.
And no me, they didn't sue me. Like till this
Thank
day,
you.
I'm like, I hope they
Like,
don't.
thank you, Fashion Nova.
But it was a very much thing where it's like, because at the time I think I would dress, also I in my mind what would look cunt on me. Without like realizing like, babe, el cuerpo no se te está prestando para ese outfit que te quieres poner. I feel like that's why. I'm like, please feel bad for me. Fashion Nova. Si me quieren multar, era por eso.
You're like, I was
Pero
going
ahora
through
sí,
something,
like,
yeah.
mándenme ropa si quieren. But it was very much like that.
All right, so I wanted to ask you something else. So off camera, you guys, we were talking about, well, first of all, we were just saying thank you to Alan for coming on to our podcast.
Yes.
But also, I know like recently you were going through like a really hard time with what happened to your grandpa. And I was just really, well, one, I feel like you've been very strong. I know you were still filming for like Noche Pendejadas. And I feel like even you've been like around us, like I saw you not too long ago. And it's just like, I think you've been like really strong during the whole thing. And I just wanted like to ask how you've been feeling or how that was for you, because I can't even imagine. Just from the post that I saw, I feel like I felt it. And I obviously never got to meet your grandpa, but from what I saw, I was just like, oh, like it made me super emotional.
Me too.
So ya tenemos casi, it's been almost like 2 months. Él falleció el 12 de junio, June 12. And it's been hard, you know, because I feel like, you know what it's been? I feel like I've been kind of on like I've been on flight mode. Apenas acaba de llegar mi abuelita literal de México last week. And this whole weekend la tuvimos internada like at the hospital porque tuvo un accidente. So I feel like there's been just so much shit going on that I feel like I literally have been like on flight mode, donde siento como de que a veces ni tiempo tengo para sentir lo que tengo que sentir. But with my grandpa, so I don't think I've ever shared this story. So él, antes de que falleciera, antes como maybe like 2 years ago, ahí lo tuvimos internado en el hospital casi por como casi una semana. So they usually stay with me, my grandparents, cuando están aquí de México y cuando and when they go back, well, obviamente viven en su casa en México. So whenever they're with me, so me acuerdo que hace como 3 años, se me cayó mi abuelito. Well, no se me cayó, se nos cayó él. He was showering. And, you know, at the time, yo le tenía, you know, like a little silla for him to like shower in. Y se nos cayó que literal estaba sangrando like from his brain, like from his head. And he kind of had like a mini concussion porque no se recordaba nada. Like when it happened, it was very like a very scary moment for us. Y me acuerdo que rápidamente él no quería ir al hospital porque mi grandpa siempre tiene traumas of like going to the hospital y que ahí se quede. Right? Like that's like a trauma que mucha gente tiene porque dice, no, si me llevan al hospital, ahí me muero. Ya no regreso o ahí me muero. So like he was really not trying to go to the hospital when that happened. And the only reason why I'm telling you this story is because it kind of correlates to what happened now, or at least I think it does. So así pasó, you know, we took him to the hospital and he did have like a mini concussion. You know, he was bleeding internally porque la caída fue muy frágil y muy pesada. And así pasó, he was in the hospital for maybe like a week max. I can be wrong, it happened a while back. Y me acuerdo que durante todo ese proceso, after that, like maybe the year the 2 years after that happened, my grandpa would always be like, no, es que yo ya no quedé igual, like me duele mucho la cabeza, que esto otro. And whenever we would want to take him to like the hospital, we would always be like, abuelito, like let us take you pa que te hagas estos estudios, because if you really are feeling this way, if you really do have these really big migraines, if you feel like your cerebro te duele, like it's for a fucking reason, right?
Something happened.
Y me acuerdo que siempre decía que no. Entonces yo me acuerdo que, you know, kind of like my abuelita and me are very like, we entre plática nosotros. And there was times where we'd be like, entonces si no quiere ir, entonces se lo está inventando. He wants attention. You know what I mean? Because like to us, everything that he would do looked so normal. Like it was his routine, you know, he would wake up. Cuando vivían conmigo, su rutina era de que se levantaban, bajaban, comían su café, miraba poquito la tele, se quedaba dormido viendo la tele, se subía para arriba, bajaba otra vez, comía, miraba la tele poquito y ya se iba y se dormía. So to us, it was nothing out of the norm, and we never really kind of, you know, not cared, but we never really much looked into it, especially because he was like, no quiero ir, estaba de terco. So fast forward, maybe early June. No te puedo decir exactamente todo lo que pasó. And the only reason is because yo no sé exacto. Like, I haven't even, I'm telling you, my grandma just got back. So I don't really know exactly qué le causó la muerte. But he started getting really sick, right? And at the beginning, my grandpa siempre se enfermaba. So I feel like at the beginning, I took it serious, but I felt kind of more of like, oh, you know, está enfermo. He's going to get better, right? Like, my grandma would be like, oh, ahorita no quiere comer, no está comiendo. So I would talk to him. Like, he'd be like, hola, mijo, ¿cómo está? So to me, it was like, oh, he's a gripa. He's gonna get better, right? And I have talked about this part on, you know, my channel, because a lot of people did tell me que por qué no empecé el trámite de advance parole en cuanto se enfermó. And the real reason is because at the beginning, it all happened fast to start off with, but at the beginning, I really didn't think it was gonna be something that was gonna lead him to him dying. Like, I literally thought, I was like, oh, mi abuelito si pudo con la caída va a poder con esta gripa, right? Like, it really was that. And you know, as the days started kind of getting progressing, me acuerdo que when I started taking it more serious, me acuerdo que mi abuelita nos llamaba and she would be stressed as hell, que se hacía del baño en la cama, right? Like really, really bad. And
that wasn't a common for him?
That wasn't common.
Oh, so she was like something.
Because él se paraba y iba al baño. Pero lo que no sé si era porque no se podía levantar, se hacía del baño, but then my grandma would always tell me too. Cuando estaba pasando eso, when it started getting serious, my grandma would tell me que huelía bien feo. Like, obviously, like, you know, when you go to the restroom, it smells bad. Oh. But she was very much...
like, concerned. Like, it's like...
like, huelía como, she would say como un toxic. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, huele a caca. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, it smells like shit. It was more like, huele como que si se está kind of like podriendo. Kinda, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like, it was just like a smell that wasn't like, oh, girl, I know what shit smells like. It was different, right? And that's kind of when it started getting kind of concerning. I'm like, oh my God, like, he's bad. He's like down bad y todo eso. No podía comer. Ya tenía días que no podía comer. And I remember when I would talk to them, I would be like, Grandma, ¿por qué no van a un doctor? Vayan a un doctor. Ahí vayan a una clínica o que venga un doctor a verlo. Like, what the fuck is going on? And me acuerdo que no querían porque mi abuelito otra vez, desde esta vez que estuvo acá cuando se nos cayó, quedó traumado. And he was like, no, es que ya no voy a salir. And I think my grandpa, deep down, he knew que ya no iba, he wasn't going to librarse de esta, because I have a video from back in December, which was like the last time they both came aquí a los Estados Unidos. Y en ese video, normalmente el que nunca quiere venir a los Estados Unidos es mi abuelito. Porque él en México se siente free, you know, he knows how to like get around. Y acá he's really just home o cuando nosotros lo saquemos. So a él le encanta estar en México. Vienen mucho por mi abuelita. So me acuerdo que esa vez era un pleito que mi abuelita no quería venir, pero mi abuelito a huevo quería venir, because and he even said it in the video, he's like, siento que esta es la última vez que voy a poder estar con ustedes. So como que él en mente ya sentía que ya no estaba bien, because he's like, es que tengo muchas enfermedades. He would just say that, right? And me acuerdo que pasó así, he started getting really, really bad. And I remember I had vlogged this, but I left it out of the vlog. my grandpa started getting more open to the idea of like a doctor seeing him, and no encontraban a doctores ahí that would go to like the house, y encontraron un doctor que era como, I don't know how to explain it because I can be wrong, but the way I see it, it's kind of like a curandero vibes,
Okay.
because they were trying to like curarlo with like natural, like, you know, like with,
Like
you know,
remedies and
remedies and
Herbal
stuff like that.
remedies,
Yeah.
Y me acuerdo que cuando my grandma, you know, when I called her when that was going on, me acuerdo, I was like, Grandma, so va a ir el doctor? And she's like, sí, pero vino el doctor y dijo, that doctor, no sé cómo se les llama, but that doctor les dijo que lo único que él tenía era que el fan. Que lo que le estaba poniendo que él no se podía levantar, that was making him feel ill, was the fan.
That was too
And
cold.
to me, it sounded like bullshit, because
Yeah.
it's like, girl, like we over here have the AC full blast cuando está aquí y él nunca se enferma o se pone
Yeah.
así. So I remember I told my grandma, I was like, Grandma, pero ¿cómo que el doctor le dijo que nomás le apaguen el abanico y se va a curar? Like, to me, it was like weird, right? I'm like, ¿y qué pinche doctor le está diciendo eso?
Yeah, no, literally,
You know,
though.
so I think it wasn't just my thought that, it wasn't just me who felt that way, because even my tias were like, Mom, like we need to take him to like
A real
a
doctor.
real doctor. Like we can't like just being based off this person que ni le ha hecho estudios, que ni le ha hecho like nothing, and he's saying que nomás es apaguen el abanico y ya. Right? So it sounded kind of fishy, and that was actually the last time I talked to my grandpa, ya bien, porque antes de que él muriera, quería platicar con él y ya ni me respondía. But that was like the last time. Me acuerdo que él me dijo que tenía mucha fe en ese doctor. Because he was like, no, ya me vio el doctor, dijo que todo va a estar bien. Y que, you know, el doctor le dijo que nomás que apaga. And my grandma was like, yo tengo mucha fe en este doctor because he's been doing this for so many years. So that happened. And then pasaron como 2 días, and at that time, I think it started getting a little bit serious, because my tías aquí se fueron pa Mexico, because they're like, Mom, like, how are you dealing with this? Like, if my dad is, if you're changing his diapers, if you're, like, ¿cómo le estás haciendo tú? Obviamente teníamos tías allá, pero mis tías, las que son sus hijas, querían ir y ayudarle. So they went over there, and my tías were kind of more like, no, it's not going to be whatever you want. You're going to go to the hospital. So se lo llevaron al hospital, and así pasó, kind of like, you know, he was in the hospital, they were checking him up. Lo que él tenía, yo pienso que era como una combination of all his enfermedades, you know, kind of piled up on him, because it got to the point where he had like a blood artery clogged up. He had a lot of his organs failing. And even then we still were like, oh, he's gonna make it, because the doctors were like, oh, ya le pusimos esto y esto otro, and like he was good. Like even me in that moment, I remember que me molestaba mucho when my grandma was like, mijo, es que yo ya lo miro mal, because I would talk to my grandma and I would try to be like, the grandma, usted no diga eso, me cae bien gordo cuando dice eso, como de que ya no va a sobrevivir mi abuelito. And I remember, you know, I would always tell my grandma, like, you gotta be positive, And así pasó, right? My sister también se fue. I've opened up about this. Yo no tengo papeles, y gracias a Dios mi sister se pudo ir a ayudarle. Y de lo que me cuenta mi sister, you know, I feel like at the beginning I was very much like, damn, I wish I had papers. Pero ya lo que me cuenta mi sister, she's like, I'm glad you didn't get to see him in the states that I saw him, because dice mi sister que si se les puso mal, lo cambiaban. Like, ya no era like the grandpa that like we saw when he left back in December. And
in such a short amount of time.
It was quick though too, because me acuerdo que I still remember this exactly, because during that time cuando estaba pasando todo eso, yo no lloré, right? Like I didn't cry one bit, because yo en mi mente I was like, girl, I think everyone's maybe just exaggerating. Like in my mind I was like, he's gonna get well, like I'm just gonna keep praying. Like todavía como que no me pegaba, pero yo pienso que también era el de la impotencia de no poder ir, and the fact that I can't just grab my shit and leave. I think I was kind of like being like, no, he's gonna get good. Like I don't even want to put crazy. Yeah, I was being optimistic for myself. And I remember the last night, que fue la primera noche que lloré, me acuerdo that I had just finished filming MC Magic's podcast, right? Like I filmed a podcast with him, y era noche, y yo tenía hambre. So we went to Cane's, and we were in the Cane's line, y me acuerdo que hablé con mi abuelita, and this was when it got really, really bad, because la cosa que pasó, like everywhere because I feel like I still haven't processed it because the thing that happened was estaba en el hospital y ya como una semana later they told him I was like, oh, he's good. He can go home. So yo en mi mente yo dije, oh, pues ya se puso bien. He's on his way to recovery. They even had they gave him a date and they told him that if everything by that time was good, he can get the surgeries that he need because the heart surgery, he needed like a heart surgery too. Sí. Y so yo ese día yo me acuerdo que ya estaba él en casa. He was already like at his house and my sister would text me because by that time she was home. So I would kind of like communicate with her. Not home, she was over there. So I would kind of communicate with her to see what's up. And there was days where she's like, he's good. Oh, he got worse. O le prendimos el aire y se puso mal. Or this and that, right? So like to me it was very much like, oh, that's a part of recovery. Like good days, bad days, good days, bad days. Y me acuerdo que we were at the line in Canes. Y I was talking to my grandma. Y otra vez, you know, le dije, Grandma, don't be like that. Stop being so negative. And I remember my grandma was like, no, mijo, y es que ya, yo ya no le miro. Yo ya no le miro, like, ayuda. Or ya no le miro, like, that he can get good. And by this time, I was still being very optimistic. But my mom luego me contó que during that time, mi primo es un enfermero que he was actually the big reason why we were actually able to get him a room because for a long time they didn't give him a room in the hospital because it was very limited. So ese primo movió muchas cosas allá en su hospital and they were actually able to give him a room. Y me acuerdo que mi primo había platicado con mi mamá and my mom tells me que mi primo le había dicho, mira, tía, no le he dicho a nadie, pero mi abuelito no va a poder. Puede seguir viviendo así, kind of like vegetable vibes, pero él les puede durar hasta un año, pero él ya no va a ser el mismo de antes, right? And my mom kind of already knew that, so I guess my grandma vio cómo estaban las circunstancias, so when she was telling me all this shit, like, oh, like he's not gonna make it, like I don't even have hopes. Yo me acuerdo que le dije, Grandma, don't be like that. Like, usted que es tan creyente en Dios. Because I got into religion really crazy growing up because of my grandma. Yo iba a los rosarios con ella. So yo me acuerdo que le dije, Grandma, no que usted, you know, tan creyente en Dios, como de que ni puede creer en un milagro. Yo le me acuerdo, we were like, literally, we hadn't even paid at the Canes line. Le dije, and she was like, no, mijo, no, es que yo ya como lo miro tu abuelito, ya no. And blah, 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 whatever. I go home. That day was the first day that I cried. Like during this whole process, that was like the first day that I cried. I remember I was like exhausted from filming. I laid down, ni comí, and I was looking like through my pictures. Like, you know, like when, you know how your pictures have like the little thumbnails of the person? So it was one of the thumbnails y me acuerdo que I pressed it and I started just like looking at his, like my memories with him y empecé a llorar. Like nunca había llorado, like the whole time that he was sick, no había llorado así. Y así lloré feo, lloré como por 3-4 hours. Me quedé casi dormido llorando. The next morning, como eso yo quiero decir como a las 8 agarro la primera llamada de mi sister. And God knows, y lo admito, the first call que me llamó mi sister, I declined it. But because I was fucking like half asleep, girl, I was like, y mi sister suele llamarme like at wrong times usually, or like she'll call me too early because her too early is like her late is like my too early, you know, like we're on different schedules. So yo cuando miré que me llamó, yo dije, luego le llamo.
Not right now.
Like, you know, like I'll call her later, like I'm fucking still sleeping. Y me llamó otra vez and I declined it again. No sé por qué, like no me cruzó la mente que la llamada era para eso. Like to me, I'm just like, oh, like she's probably gonna update me, but like she can update me.
And you're like,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was like half asleep. So like to me, I'm like, girl, like I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm like, oh, you woke me up. I've been on like 5 hours of sleep. Y me llama mi cuñado. Keep in mind, mi cuñado está aquí. Entonces, en cuanto miré que me llamó mi cuñado, dije, no mames, this must be something serious. Sure. So I didn't even answer my cuñado. I called back my sister. I called her back and I was still half asleep. And she was like crying. She answers crying. And I was like, y como que me levantó, pero no me levantó. Like I was like asleep. The way I can remember that moment, it was like I was knocked out and I was like, okay, like she just gave me this news, pero como que it didn't process because I was still tired, right? So she was like, Grandpa didn't make it, no la hizo. And I woke up and I was like, oh shit. Like that day, my morning started like extra early than it usually does. Y me acuerdo que me levanté and like, I feel like I couldn't process it. And I feel like what was even harder was the fact that el día que él falleció ya lo estaban velando y ya el próximo día ya lo habían enterrado.
So quick.
So it was so
fast.
quick. En México dicen supuestamente, yo me
So
acuerdo
quick.
cuando pasó, supuestamente dicen que porque como el calor, and they don't have a lot of freezers in the pueblitos, so they're like, no, girl, like aquí se nos va a pudrir type of thing, right?
Yeah,
like
they
a
do it
body,
really
like if
quick.
you're keeping them without them being refrigerated y todo. So pasó todo bien rápido. And I remember that whole day, I was crying. I was crying the whole day. And then that same day, I had a filming date. Ese día grabé. Ese
you
día,
did
and
film?
I was going to
way.
cancel that day. But the reason why I didn't cancel it is because grabé con Grace, que viene desde Arizona. Ya estaba aquí. She had already checked into her hotel. Ya me había texteado, like, I'm so excited. So I felt bad, like, oh my God, this girl, like, traveled all the way from freaking Arizona. Y no le voy a dar, y no le voy a decir, ¿sabes qué? Like, I can't. Like, even though I could have, and I know she would have understood because cuando le platiqué, she was like, oh my God, you could have canceled. I feel like for me, it was very much like, I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? And I also feel like ya me había pasado todo el día llorando that I feel like I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to feel distracted. Pero sí, así pasó las cosas, you know, everything. I think everything happened too quick. And even till this day, I feel like since I never stopped working since he passed away, I feel like I haven't, like there's moments where like I kind of forget like the situation. You know, where I kind of am like blanked out and I'm just like even like coming to this day, I was like, oh, I'm ready. But then I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I'm still grieving. Or even in moments como que no me capta la situación. And then going back with my grandma, you know, she had a really hard, you know, obviously yo perdí a mi abuelito, but she lost her life partner. I feel like it's so much going on. Like, I feel like my life has been like boom, 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 boom. I got an anxiety attack on Friday, like a really, really bad anxiety attack where like literally my body was like shaking. I couldn't, like, it was so much going on. Me acuerdo, llegó el lunes mi grandma, a month later, right? Ella no se vino rápidamente because tenían que like do all like the funeral stuff, like the paperwork y todo eso. And llega mi grandma el Sunday, la miro el lunes que viene siendo su cumpleaños, and she didn't want to do anything for her birthday. She wanted to keep it chill, but she nos había dicho que quería nadar. She loves swimming.
Oh, she's so cute.
So as a family, we're like, let's distract her. Vámonos a la, let's rent an Airbnb. So we booked an Airbnb the weekend of, which was last week. And on Thursday la fue a recoger Danny. And cuando la fue a recoger, se cayó. Bad. Like, you think like, oh, se cayó, like, oh, get up, right? Like, and I feel like that day me pegó el 20. I was talking to Danny. I was like, dude, it's crazy because si tú te caes, yo me caigo good, right? Like, get the fuck up and you're on your day. But ya con la edad, yo pienso que es más difícil. Like, your body, your reflexes aren't as quick as they are as when you're younger. Se cayó and Danny was there. He FaceTimed me y me mandó una foto. No tenía moretes, nothing. Tenía la cara toda hinchada, parecía que se había quebrado la nariz porque cayó literally face flat, like face flat to like the floor, the concrete. La llevaron al hospital, no quería ir ella tampoco. She's like, no, I'm good. But I think a big part of her, she was like, I don't want to cancel this trip because she kept saying like, no cancelen. But also because she was like, el dinero. She was like, se va a perder el dinero, right? And she gets checked into the hospital. She FaceTimes me. No way. Like, I'm like, she was like, we can still go tomorrow. Like, and I'm like, girl, like, there's no way. Like, even, like, I will say, even though she didn't have any broken bones, she didn't have anything broken. It was just like el golpe. Pero sí le encontraron una sangre aquí, like, seca. So they no la querían dar de alta porque dijeron que querían ver que el neuriólogo la viera to make sure that she was internally bleeding from her, like, head or anything from the la caída. And she stayed there, right? Like, the whole day. El viernes la fue a ver mi papá y mi mamá y internaron a mi papá because se les desmayó. So my dad, he's been a diabetic for like 5 years now, but my dad's very terco too, where like he doesn't take it as serious, and he's never in those 5 years has ever gone to go check up his like diabetes. Nunca se ha checado, right? Like ever. And he doesn't take it serious, I guess. And ese día como que viéndola así porque, like, I'll show you guys pictures afterwards. Like, it wasn't just like a normal, like, fall. Like, tenía el ojo todo moreteado, la nariz toda hinchada. Like, se miraba unrecognizable. And when she was still trying to go on the trip, I told her, I was like, Grandma, there's no way I'm going to be able to enjoy myself seeing you like that.
Pues sí.
El solazo, we were going to go to, like, Palm Springs. Like, there's no way.
Ay, no, ese pinche calorón.
It was bad. So terminaron internando a mi papá. And they let him go that same day. They just told him that they found something weird with his like heart, whatever. So that day I was like,
Oh my God,
like there was so much going on. So I feel like ever since my grandpa like passing away, I feel like it's been like thing after thing after
a roller
thing,
coaster.
like a roller coaster that I feel like it's crazy because I have not cried in like 2 weeks.
Oh my
I feel like
gosh.
como que ya me sequé. Because
you
like the
cry
first
so
couple, like the
much.
month, I was like crying. Any little thing I would see, I would cry. But I feel like the last 2 weeks, it's been very like sick. Like I've been so seco. And now I feel like because I didn't allow myself to really grieve or to really, you know, like feel what I had to feel in the moment, I feel like ya me está pegando like ahora.
And you know what? That's like a normal response. Nobody wants to be upset. Nobody wants to grieve.
Yeah.
But just know that it is okay. I know you're very dedicated to your job and Noche de Pendejadas, but it's a normal response to want to just grieve and cry it out. Like that is like the most human and normal response you can have because you need to sometimes let it out.
But I feel like you know what also, I feel like what also gives me comfort was the fact that I have so many pictures of my grandpa just knocking out anywhere. Like we would go to the doctor porque a mí me tocaba llevarlo al doctor. And even just like those 15 minutes that they would be like, oh, wait in here, you know, we'll have the doctor come in. Tengo muchas fotos de las veces que iba con el doctor and he would be like knocked out while they were waiting. Like those 10 minutes, he would be not anywhere.
Like a little nap.
Little nap. So like, seeing it now, I feel like what also has given me closure is the fact that my grandpa was in fact cansado. You know, ya quería descansar.
Sí,
Muchas veces lo decía, you know, yo no estoy por esas cosas, estoy cansado. Y siento que eso es lo que me da closure now to be like, you know what? Like, my grandpa is finally resting. So I feel like now, like, even though I'm still like grieving, I feel like one of my main focuses is like getting my grandma out of like that, like, dark space,
Like
you know,
being there for her.
because I feel like she's made a lot of comments about like she's like she wanted to come. Okay, so la razón porque she's made a lot of comments about her like kind of being done vibes. You know, she's like, no, es que yo no puedo, lo ha soñado muy feo mi abuelito. So I feel like, you know, it's sad. I feel like, you know, she's been with him for almost 70 years. So like le afectó, si a uno le afecta, obviamente a ella le va a afectar más because that's all she knows. And she's been super, super negative. And recently, it was funny because I bring it up as a joke because le estaba echando carrilla ayer o antier cuando la fue a visitar after everything. Her phone's been really messed up. Like, she has like an old-ass phone that I got her maybe like 3 years ago. And ya hasta cuando you click things, ya como que ya no sirve bien. Like, it's very like low responsive, the phone. And I was like, ay, grandma, ya necesita un nuevo teléfono. A ver si le agarro uno, right? Like, I was like making it, like, I was just comentándole.
Yeah.
And then I was like, pero ya quiero que ya no diga diciendo que ya se va a morir, porque si se va a morir, ¿para qué le voy a agarrar el teléfono? Habla y me va a hacer gastar. And then she was like, she started laughing. She's like, okay, ya no voy a decir eso si quieres que disfrute el teléfono. So I feel like now that she's here, como tenemos mucha familia aquí, I feel like we're trying to get her out of like that dark space y para que disfrute ya el tiempo que tiene, because I tell her now, you know, my grandpa dependía mucho de mi abuelita. You know what I mean? Like, hasta para comer, para even to get a cup of water, like, my grandma, you know, le servía todo.
How
Dependía
old was he?
mucho. He was 83
ya
or
estaban
82.
grandes.
82. Ya estaba grande. Yeah. But even then, he was able to still, like, do stuff. But it's more of, like, that, like, costumbre. You know, as you get older, you're like, oh, my wife got it. Like, she's going to cook. Me sirve. Nomás me siento y como. So I feel like, en vida, mi abuelito siempre decía, like, yo cuando me vaya, ya no vas a tener, like, que cuidarme, ya no vas a tener, hasta muriéndose. Like, one thing I will say about my grandpa, he was always very vocal. Super, super fucking vocal. And, él hasta muriéndose, like, in his deathbed, like, he was saying some, like, things that are, like, a little out of pocket, like, enfrente, like, mi tías y todo eso. Yeah. But it was very much like him.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, even dying, he was not holding himself back. He was like saying what he felt. And I feel like when all that was going on, like, ya que me cuenta mi abuelita, he knew he was like passing away. Ya quería decir lo que él quería, pero hasta mi abuelita me cuenta que, like, the day before he passed away, he's like, ya no tienes que tener este peso, ya vete a disfrutar. You can, you know, enjoy the time que tienes con tu familia, con la familia, like, go out, have fun. Like, you don't have to, like, not go places because I don't want to go because I can't physically like be out there like that. So I feel like that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to like enjoy these moments que Diosito nos quiere prestar con mi abuelita and just kind of, you know, just live the best, give my grandma like the best years que le quedan. You know what I mean? But it's just hard because it's like, it's hard trying to enjoy when it's like.
You feel like there's like a time ticking or what?
Like for me, like for example, like I remember apenas llegó, right? Like she passed away and I've always said like I feel like it's not gonna hit me until I see my grandma come and like her come alone. Y me acuerdo que el día antes de que llegaron, I remember me and Danny went to like Home Goods and everything to kind of go have a room set up for her, like a new comforter y todo eso. And I was so excited. Like I was vlogging. I was like, oh my God, my grandma's coming. And I remember I put the camera down. I was like, fuck, I feel so guilty. Like I'm so excited for my grandma to come. I'm so excited that papacharla con mucho amor and like give her like all the love we have. But then I feel so guilty being so excited for her coming, knowing that my grandpa isn't coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like moments like that are very bittersweet, and I feel like todavía no capto.
Yeah.
And there's moments where like I think I'm in like my Delulu head. Like I'm just like, ooh, like I don't even want to talk about it. Like, and I don't talk about it too much. You know, like this I probably have talked to you guys more than I talk about Danny with my feelings.
How does this feel? Like, does it feel like you got to vent a little bit?
I do. But I just feel like I vent, but I feel like a lot, you know, it's crazy. Like I feel like I'm here, but I feel like I'm just talking out of my ass because it's like I still haven't like processed it. You know, everything just seems so fast paced, but because it felt so fast paced to me, so that's kind of like how I explain it. So I haven't really, you know, I haven't had a convo to like be with my grandma at home and her kind of platicarme how everything went down. And I feel like that also has to be because cuando regresó, yo pensé que se iba a regresar a mi casa, but she hasn't been at my house.
Oh no.
And I understand that, right? Like I understand that because she knows I'm super busy, because even before my grandpa passed away, like our routine was kind of like I was there with them and I would spend time with them, but I wasn't, they would be with me, but like yo estaba en mis pedos. Right? Like I was editing, I was working, like hola abuelita, que desayunar, but then like me iba casi todo el día, I would go to events. So she hasn't came to my house since she came back. And I know the reason for that is because she doesn't want to be alone.
So you know, she's with your mom.
No, ahorita sí está con mi mamá y con mi hermana. But like I feel like that to me is like okay, because it's like okay, I'm not gonna feel some type of way for her not coming, because before me sentía mal. ¿Y por qué no quieren venir a mi casa? ¿Por qué se han quedado mucho con mi tía? But I feel like now I understand it, because they know that she doesn't want to be left alone, because then her thoughts go everywhere. But she knows that coming to my house is very much like, you know, like I can be there, but I also can't be there 24/7 with her.
That makes sense.
She like probably just wants to be around family and like other people.
Like 24/7, yeah.
No, but that's really sweet that you guys are like taking her in and like spending time with her, because
I love that.
I feel like for everybody that's like what everyone needs when something hard like this happens. But
Family.
I was gonna say I feel like everybody has their own ways of like coping with things and stuff, and I feel like cope with it how you feel is like best for you. But I feel like even like talking about it, I hope helps you out, or even just, I feel like personally, I don't like to sit down and like let my feelings go everywhere. Yeah. And I almost feel like hearing you talk, I almost feel like we're like on the same boat. We're like, feel like we like to live our life a little bit fast paced because we don't want to sit down with things. So I feel like, I mean, other people say like it's not good to do that, which I understand it's not good, but I feel like that's unfortunately the way that I cope with things.
Like your guys is normal?
Yeah. And
I do. I feel like I'm always on autopilot. I feel like stress has a lot to do with that. I feel like even now, you know what I mean? Like, even though haven't stopped working, I feel like there's moments where, like I said, like I really don't think of the situation because I'm constantly like working. I'm constantly busy. I'm constantly doing something. My brain kind of blocks out that like portion. And then I get home and I see his altar and I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking real.
You made like a little altar.
I made an altar, and you know what's funny? I've always said, which is crazy because like, cómo cambian las cosas y el tiempo, because I've always said, I've never said this with my grandparents, but I've said this with my mom. I've always been the type of person that I was like, if my parents pass away, I've always said, I was like, I don't want to have the ashes in my home. Like, I feel like I've always said this, obviously now it's like things are a little different, but when I used to say this, my reasoning would kind of be like, oh, I feel like I wouldn't be able to like cope, or I wouldn't be able to like, heal, having the ashes constantly reminding me that eso es lo que quedó, ahí es donde quedó mi mamá, my dad, or whoever it is that's in the ashes. But I feel like at the beginning it was very mentally exhausting and emotionally exhausting having to do the novenario. Because I don't know if cómo se acostumbra con
Sí, el
ustedes,
novenario.
but it was our first time doing something like that where like cada día for 9 days they kind of you get
pray.
together with the family, you pray, I guess, to kind of help him, guide him through the afterlife. I think that's like the reason for it. And I remember at the beginning I was like, I don't want to have this here, like, because to me I feel like I go through a lot of, I feel like I just live a very stressful life that I feel like my home is like my peace.
Yeah, that's
like I always say that even with my family, they're like, oh, you're a bitch. You're like, I always say this, like, I would never be able to have my parents living in my same home as me because they stress me so out, especially when they were like together. Like they stress me out, like los gritos, and I'm like, I go into like PTSD when I was like little.
Home.
So I feel like to me it's like I don't want to have anything in my house that causes me stress. That's why I kind of moved the podcast out of that, because it started causing me stress having it in my home. And when empezamos a hablar del novenario, I was like, I don't think I can do it. Like emotionally, like, or physically, I can't have, this in my house, like these blown out pictures, like.
And then you remembering that.
And then remember every time I would come down from upstairs, like that's the first thing I see. But I do feel like, right now I'm just on mute. Like, I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm feeling. I don't even know how I'm coping with things. I think I'm just like, boom. And I do feel guilty because, recently I just had a convo with Danny, literally yesterday, because I had been so behind on my vlogs. Like today I uploaded a vlog that was filmed 2 months ago, but it was because it was during that time. And for a long time I didn't want to sit down and relive those moments. I didn't want to have to like be like, oh my God, like I remember when I was so hopeful and I was talking to the camera about my grandpa, like he's gonna make it, and then I don't want to relive the next morning when I'm all crying, like all this stuff. And I remember I started editing them this week, and I also started editing because I like to like post my vlogs as they're happening. Yeah. And I'm already like backed up, and I already have vlogs that happened like maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, girl, like I haven't even posted that. When am I going to post them? Yeah. So I started editing those vlogs, and it was hard. It was hard like having to relive those moments. Yeah. But when I was, when I was doing it, I was like, fuck, like how am I just like sitting my ass down, editing this vlog when it's like something that I fucking, like, I don't even, like, when I was editing those vlogs, I swear to God, I was very much editing, like, as a third person.
Oh my God.
Like, no me podía mirar yo, like, hasta me daba saber que mirarme, like, crying on camera. I was like, no, this, like, it felt unreal.
Yeah.
Like, it felt
like,
weird.
that's not me.
Yeah, like, it was like, oh, I'm watching someone else going through it.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I feel like I definitely understand. Like, literally everything that you're saying, I feel like I understand how you're going through that. But also just want to say thank you for even trusting us and like opening up. Thank you so much
for sharing that story.
Because I know it's probably really hard for you, and I'm happy to see that. Like, I feel like from like how I see you, I feel like you are like a really strong person. You're moving forward. You're still taking care of your family and your abuelita and making sure that everybody's okay. And I feel like, again, I don't like to tell people how to cope with things because everyone tiene su manera. But I feel like whenever you're feeling down, I feel like it is okay to let ourselves feel what we're feeling.
And I do allow myself, because that's one thing que sí les quiero decir a ustedes que están allá en casita, watching this. If you guys are currently going through the loss of someone super important in your life, I feel like at the beginning, I wasn't allowing myself to feel anything. I was just like, work. Yeah. You can't fucking go. Why are you going to be so stressed out for something that you can't even be in the moment in? And one thing I, do want to say, and something that's been helping me, I allow myself to be sad. I allow myself to cry, but I don't allow myself to constantly be sad. Yeah. Because then I don't want to like go back in a dark hole where it's going to be even harder for me to like get out of. My grandpa en vida, él siempre nos decía, cuando yo no esté aquí, yo quiero que sigan adelante, I want you guys to keep thriving. Y él siempre me decía a mí how orgulloso él estaba de yo y todo lo que I've been accomplishing. It was funny because someone left me a comment the other day of a live. Like, it's crazy that people remember this shit. Like, your followers remember stuff like this. Like grandparents, like they don't like understand, you know, like, or they don't grasp on to like social media.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
So like when I
so
would
new
talk
to
to my
them.
grandpa about like, oh yeah, you know, I have a podcast. Like he literally thought like I was like Don Francisco himself. Like I
he's
swear to
cute.
God. And then when we'd go in public and people would like meet me and greet me,
Yeah.
like él en su mente pensaba que yo era una pinche estrella. Like, like póngale su estrella en el Salón de la Fama type of thing. Like he really did think that. And I remember at the time, it was a live, and I think I was going somewhere, and I was going like shit. Like it was just like one of those things where you're running errands and you're looking like shit. And I was on live, and I was telling him, I was like, "Oh, grandpa, like ya me voy." And he's like, "Así vas a irte," or I don't remember what it was. But basically, he was like, you know, tú es que tú ya eres algo. You're like, tú no puedes salir a la calle así. Tú tienes que mirarte bien y presentable. Like all this shit, right?
Yeah.
And it was funny because ese comentario apenas me lo dejaron hace como maybe like 3 days ago. And it's like, it's crazy that your grandpa at the time, él ya te miraba like huge. And it does make me sad because he never got to see, you know, like what Noche de Pendejadas is now. You know, like I was really excited for them to come back and see the studio and see like how much it's grown from being in the house to like being what it is now. Porque me acuerdo when we would film in the house and they'd be home, my grandpa les gustaba escuchar la tele loud. So I would literally like, cause están sordos, right? Like, girl, like it'd be like loud as hell. And I remember whenever we would film, I'd be like, grandpa, like you need to turn off the TV. Like, so se retacaban, no, literally se retacaban al cuarto. And I remember I would always be like, oh, I can't wait till like I have my studio. So like you guys don't have to like lock yourselves in a fucking room while I go do what I gotta do. So it does get me sad sometimes, you know, when I think about like the podcast and like the new studio and everything, or how much it's grown. Like it makes me sad que no lo puedo ver en persona. But I think what keeps me going is like seeing how great my grandpa thought of me, and seeing, you know, él siempre me decía, no, tú sí vas a salir adelante. Like tú sí, tú trabajas muy, like, you know, like when like you see him. So I feel like that also was helping me like cope, because I was like, this is what my grandpa would have wanted. Like he wouldn't have wanted me to like sit down and mope all day long, because él no quería eso. Y hasta muriéndose, he's like, no quiero que lloren, no los quiero ver en negro, nada de eso. Quiero que festejen que yo ya estoy descansando. So to me, like, me quedo con eso, and I feel like that's what's helped me cope with it.
And he probably would want you to keep working as hard as you were. Yeah.
To end things on a brighter note, what's one thing that you loved or was your favorite thing about your abuelito? If there's one thing that you can like say, this is like one thing I loved about him, what would it be?
Wait, can I maybe say, because I loved a lot of things, can I maybe say one thing that maybe I'll miss?
Anything.
That I hated?
Okay, yeah.
No, because I say this in all honesty. I feel like, you know, as human beings, like, you know, even though at the moment you're like, no lo piensas, like, te puedes molestar for things they do, right? Like,
Right,
let's say,
right.
like, you guys as siblings, like, even though you love each other, there can be things that Yoatzi does that Louie maybe is like, oh, hey,
Like
or like
pet
vice
peeves.
versa, right?
Yeah.
Like pet peeves. Y me acuerdo que, okay, so my grandpa, because en las noches él ya no podía ir al baño, or si iba ya no la atinaba bien, right? So like he would literally like sprinkle like the whole restroom, and the thing too que a mí me molestaba que no lo limpiaba. So yo iba al baño casi cagándome, and I'm like, fuck, there's pee everywhere, so I had to clean everything, right? So él en las noches, me acuerdo que él tenía su little tub. It was literally, it was like a Halloween little trick-or-treat basket. Like the plastic ones. Y él se iba en la noche, if he had to go to the restroom at nights, you know, he wouldn't go to the restroom, se meaba ahí, and then he would go in the morning and dump it in the toilet, right? Okay. And one of the things that I remember, I would even tell my grandma, but like in chiste, like to kind of like, pa que le dijera. Me acuerdo like when he would have to go to the restroom and pee, yo pobrecito mi abuelito ya no le atinaba, right? Con su cosita latina. And he would kind of like, you know, and when I would go in, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even fucking like sit my ass down as soon as I get in there because I have to clean it. And I was literally telling Danny, I was like, me acuerdo que le decía, you know, entre parejas, you're like, oh my God, dude, did you see my grandpa didn't clean the restroom? Or like, you know, comentas entre parejas, y me acuerdo, like now, looking back, I told Danny, I was like, cuando pasó todo eso, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm going to miss that. Like, ¿qué diera yo para poder otra vez poder limpiarle sus miados? You know what I mean? And then finally sit down. But there's like a lot of things, you know, I feel like I grew up with my grandparents almost being my second parents. Like, there was a point where like I respected them and loved them more than my actual parents, because crecimos con ellos, you know, like we went, when I lived in Mexico, we lived hurricanes and with them. And I remember when they went, vivíamos en una casita en su casa de ellos en México. Era una casita más bonita que sí podía durar with the hurricane.
Sí.
Y me acuerdo in the middle of the hurricane, him and my grandma came to our house que se estaba casi destruyendo con las láminas porque era de lámina. And they came and like, there's like a lot of things like, you know, like a lot of moments that I was able to live with them that I'm grateful. And I feel like I'm just going to miss it all in general. Or like even now recently, one thing I am going to miss whenever I would go out to events, a mí no me gusta cuando me chulean. Maybe that comes again from like not always having like anyone ever like be like, you look so cute. So I feel like now that I feel cute, like I don't know how to like take it. You know, I'm like, oh, like girl, like you know, like are you fucking around? So cada vez que salía a un evento or whenever I would go out, él siempre estaba comiendo en la mesa and I would always be like, oh, ya me voy, abuelito. He would be like, wow, te miras muy guapo. Te miras bien guapo. Qué guapo. So like little things like that like in sus momentos you really don't think about. I feel like those are like a lot of things. There's a lot of things that he would do and just like a lot of things. Him and my grandma fighting for the stupidest things while they're eating.
Like little arguments.
Yeah, like little arguments. Like I told Danny and my grandma, I was like, voy a extrañar el que se estén agarrando del chongo y luego al minuto que estén contentos. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And I feel like
memories.
I'm going to allow myself, you know, I did say that when my grandma came back, I wasn't going to work for like a week, but bitch, I did work. But it also, you know, las cosas pasan and I feel like tenemos que seguir adelante just, you know, for ourselves and for our sanity.
Pues y para la renta.
Y para la renta, amor, imagínate, porque si no, I'm like, ¿quién va a pagarme los biles? Oye, acabamos de platicar que literal, entre más dinero ganas, más biles. So, I'm like, gotta get to work.
That's why he's here with us.
I'm like, aquí ando. I'm like, make the check to Alanizeds.
Well, again, thank you so much for opening up and for coming onto our podcast. We've been wanting to have you for such a long time.
This was overdue.
Yes.
I honestly do wish I was like in a different mind space because I've actually been like wanting to come on the podcast for like a long time.
Yeah.
So like pasó, amigas, pero a ver un round 2 later on.
Yeah.
Cuando me
Round
sienta
2
mejor
for
y la
sure.
mente no
You'll
la
be
tenga tan
back.
foggy.
No, once
like
we have another upgrade.
Yeah, but I feel like your podcast, this episode was perfect. It had a little bit of everything. You opened up, which I know we both really, really appreciate. So thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
We love
guys,
you,
for having
Alan.
me.
Yes,
Thanks
we
for
love
coming.
you. Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening. If you guys haven't watched our episodes on Noche de Pendejadas, make sure y'all go listen to those. We appreciate your time, Alan, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
one.
Bye, guys.